Life is unpredictable. Every day brings new challenges, and some days it feels like the weight of the world is pressing down on your shoulders. Whether it's dealing with stress at work, personal relationships that drain your energy, or that nagging feeling that you're not living up to your full potential, these struggles can feel overwhelming. But what if there was a way to face life's hardest moments with unshakable strength and peace? What if, instead of being constantly weighed down, you could rise above the chaos, grounded, clear-minded, and ready to tackle anything that comes your way? There's a deep, ancient wisdom that offers a path to mastering not just survival, but thriving in the face of adversity. It's a philosophy that teaches us to stand tall in the storm, calm in the face of uncertainty, and to find strength, not from what we have, but from who we are inside. It's not about avoiding challenges, but about transforming how we face them. You don't need to change the world to change your life. In fact, real transformation happens from within. The outside world will always have its ups and downs. Economies will shift, people will come and go, situations will rise and fall, but your inner world can become your greatest ally. When you develop true resilience, when you understand how to navigate life's twists and turns with grace, you begin to see that the power to create a meaningful, fulfilled life lies within your control. There is something deeply powerful about realizing that you have the ability to control how you respond to what life throws at you. Think about it. External circumstances are often outside our hands, but how we think, how we act, and how we feel, those are things we can master. This is the essence of living a life on your terms, one that is not dictated by fear, anxiety, or the pursuit of fleeting pleasures. It's about finding a foundation that cannot be shaken, no matter what. But let's be clear, this kind of inner strength doesn't come from avoiding discomfort or pretending that everything is always fine. Real growth comes from facing discomfort head-on, from welcoming challenges instead of running from them. When you willingly put yourself in difficult situations, whether it's something as small as skipping a meal or as big as tackling a personal fear, you train yourself to become more resilient. Over time, you become less dependent on external comforts and more grounded in your own power. One of the hardest lessons we all learn at some point in life is that we can't control everything. Trying to constantly manage every detail, obsess over others' opinions, or worry about the future only leaves us feeling drained. But there is a better way. By letting go of the need to control everything, you create space to focus on what truly matters: your actions, your values, and your own well-being. Think about the relief that comes with no longer chasing approval from others. When your happiness isn't tied to whether someone praises or criticizes you, you gain freedom. The energy spent worrying about how you're perceived can be channeled into living authentically, in alignment with your own values. You no longer feel like a puppet being pulled by the strings of external validation. You take control, owning your decisions, your worth, and your life. One of the greatest tools you have at your disposal is the awareness of your own mortality. Far from being morbid, reflecting on the fact that life is finite sharpens your focus on what's truly important. It reminds you to stop wasting time on trivial matters and pushes you to pursue what really matters to you. It cuts through the noise of daily distractions and procrastination, urging you to act with purpose, today, not tomorrow, not someday, but now. This isn't about living a life free from pain or hardship. That's impossible. Pain and suffering are part of the human experience. But when you learn to accept this reality without resistance, you begin to see pain differently. Instead of fearing it, you learn to face it with strength, knowing that it's just another part of the journey. When you adopt this mindset, challenges become opportunities for growth, and even suffering becomes something you can handle with grace and composure. One of the reasons we struggle so much in life is that we cling too tightly to our roles. You might identify so strongly as a parent, a worker, or a friend that when things go wrong in those areas, you feel like your entire world is falling apart. But your true value is not tied to any single role you play. The moment you detach from those labels and embrace who you are at your core, you find a new sense of freedom. You realize that failure in one role doesn't define you, and neither does success. What defines you is how you live according to your values, no matter what happens around you. Life becomes simpler when you start focusing on what really matters. In a world that constantly demands more from you, learning the art of saying no to what doesn't serve you can change everything. When you learn to prioritize the things that genuinely contribute to your growth and well-being, you clear away the noise and clutter. The more you practice this, the more energy you have to dedicate to the things that truly matter. You begin to live with clarity and purpose, no longer pulled in 100 different directions by things that don't align with your goals. Sometimes, life feels like a drama unfolding all around you. It's easy to get caught up in the highs and lows, the stress and the chaos. But what if you could step back and watch it all from a distance, as if you were a spectator? This doesn't mean disconnecting from your life, but rather observing it with a sense of calm detachment. When you learn to do this, you gain the ability to manage your emotions more effectively. You stop reacting impulsively and instead respond with wisdom and clarity. Words are powerful, but sometimes silence speaks louder than anything you could say. In a world where people are quick to speak and slow to listen, mastering the art of silence can give you an edge. Speaking only when you have something valuable to say, and holding back when your words aren't necessary, sharpens your mind. It makes your words more impactful when you do speak, and allows you to maintain a sense of control over your thoughts and emotions. At the heart of everything, there's a sense that life is interconnected. Everything happens for a reason, and every event, no matter how challenging, is part of a larger cosmic order. Trusting in this universal logic helps you face life's difficulties with grace. Instead of fighting against the flow of events, you learn to move with them, accepting that everything, even adversity, has a purpose. Time is precious. Once it's gone, you can never get it back. That's why learning how to use your time wisely is one of the most important skills you can develop. This isn't just about being productive. It's about investing your time in things that align with your values and bring you closer to your goals. When you stop wasting time on things that don't matter, you free yourself to live a life that's full of purpose and meaning. This journey of transformation isn't easy, but the rewards are immeasurable. The wisdom to face challenges with strength, the courage to live authentically, and the clarity to focus on what matters most. These are the tools that will carry you through life's ups and downs. By embracing these principles, you unlock the power to not only survive, but thrive, no matter what life throws your way. Life can be comfortable, and comfort is what many of us seek. But what if comfort is actually holding you back? What if the very ease you strive for is keeping you from becoming the strongest, most resilient version of yourself? There's a deeper power to be found in choosing discomfort, in walking a harder path, not because you must, but because you can. Voluntary discomfort is a key to unlocking a level of mental and physical toughness that comfort will never provide. In moments of struggle, we grow. In times of hardship, we find our true strength. Embracing discomfort is not about suffering for its own sake, but about preparing yourself for a life that no longer fears hardship, a life that welcomes challenge with open arms. By seeking out discomfort on purpose, you begin to change how you approach everything. Fasting, for instance, can seem like a daunting task. But when you voluntarily give up food for a day, you discover that hunger is not an enemy. It's something you can live with, something that doesn't control you. It's in these moments that you realize your body is stronger than you ever thought possible. When you go without food, without the comfort of regular meals, you start to see how much power you actually have over your physical desires. You gain control, not just over hunger, but over the endless need for comfort that drives much of modern life. Sleeping on the floor may seem pointless, even silly, to those who value their comfort above all else. But when you choose the hard surface over a soft bed, something shifts within you. You teach yourself that comfort is not a necessity, that your body can adapt, and that your mind can thrive even when things aren't easy. Suddenly, a night without a mattress becomes more than just a challenge. It becomes a lesson in resilience. You wake up the next day, not just physically stronger, but mentally tougher, more prepared for the unpredictability of life. The practice of voluntary discomfort is about more than just physical toughness. It's about reshaping your mind to handle adversity with grace. When you willingly put yourself through small hardships, you begin to see the bigger challenges in life differently. A difficult conversation, an unexpected setback at work, or the emotional strain of a relationship, they all seem more manageable when you've already proven to yourself that you can endure discomfort without breaking. As you continue to embrace these self-imposed challenges, something remarkable happens. You stop viewing the world as something that should bend to your will, as something that owes you comfort and ease. Instead, you start to see discomfort as a natural part of life, as something that can't be avoided. And when discomfort becomes normal, it loses its power to shake you. You walk through life more steadily, more calmly, because you no longer fear what you can't control. You've already proven to yourself that you can handle discomfort when it's necessary, and this knowledge frees you from the anxiety that often comes from the unexpected. Voluntary discomfort also helps you appreciate the comforts of life more fully. After fasting, food tastes better. After sleeping on the floor, a bed feels like a luxury. By experiencing life without these comforts, you train yourself to stop taking them for granted. Each meal becomes a gift, each warm blanket a reminder of how fortunate you are. And when you stop taking things for granted, you begin to live with more gratitude, more mindfulness, and a deeper appreciation for the small pleasures that fill your day. Through this practice, you start to realize how much of your happiness has been tied to external conditions. You've been taught to believe that happiness comes from having the right job, the right house, or the perfect relationship. But voluntary discomfort shows you something different. It teaches you that happiness doesn't depend on the things you have or the comfort you feel. It's something you can carry with you, regardless of your circumstances. When you embrace discomfort, you gain the strength to find peace even in difficult times, to hold on to joy even when life isn't going your way. Mental toughness isn't just about enduring physical discomfort, it's about how you handle emotional challenges as well. When you choose to confront discomfort, you train your mind to handle stress with calmness. This calmness seeps into every area of your life, from your relationships to your work. Problems that once seemed insurmountable begin to shrink in the face of your growing resilience. You find that you are no longer at the mercy of your emotions. When stress arises, you handle it with composure, because you know that discomfort, whether physical or emotional, is temporary. It's a test, and you are ready for it. This growing strength and adaptability ripple outward into every corner of your life. Voluntary discomfort becomes the foundation of a mindset that isn't just reactive, but proactive. You begin to seek out challenges, not because you enjoy hardship, but because you know that on the other side of discomfort lies growth. You become someone who isn't just surviving life, but thriving in it, constantly pushing your limits and expanding your comfort zone in ways that few others dare to. The more you practice voluntary discomfort, The more you discover how adaptable you are, your ability to handle change improves, because change is, at its core, a form of discomfort. Most people resist change because it threatens their sense of security, but you, having trained yourself to thrive in discomfort, welcome change with open arms. You understand that change, like discomfort, is not something to be feared, but something to be embraced. Through this journey, you come to see how much control you truly have over your life. You can't control the outside world, but you can control how you respond to it. By practicing voluntary discomfort, you gain mastery over your reactions. You no longer panic when things go wrong, because you know that you've already faced discomfort and come out stronger on the other side. This internal strength gives you a profound sense of confidence. You walk through life knowing that no matter what happens, you have the tools to handle it. This inner transformation doesn't just benefit you, it impacts those around you. People notice when you're calm in a crisis, when you remain steady in the face of adversity. Your resilience becomes a source of inspiration to others, showing them that it's possible to handle life's challenges without crumbling under pressure. In this way, your practice of voluntary discomfort doesn't just change your life, it changes the lives of those you interact with as well. What's most surprising about voluntary discomfort is that it doesn't just build strength, it builds freedom. When you no longer need comfort to feel secure, you become free from the chains of dependency. You stop relying on external conditions to dictate your happiness, and instead find that your peace and contentment come from within. This is the ultimate freedom, the kind of freedom that allows you to live life on your own terms, unshackled from the need for constant comfort. With each challenge you face, you continue to grow. Your physical endurance improves, but so does your mental resilience. You start to see yourself differently. You no longer see yourself as someone who needs everything to be just right to be happy. Instead, you recognize your own strength, your own ability to create happiness, regardless of your circumstances. This shift in perspective is profound. It changes how you approach every aspect of your life. The more you step into discomfort, the less you fear it. Challenges that once seemed terrifying now seem like opportunities. You begin to take risks, not because you're reckless, but because you trust in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. This newfound courage opens doors that were once closed to you. You start saying yes to opportunities that you would have avoided in the past, knowing that even if things don't go as planned, you'll be able to handle it. As your resilience grows, so does your sense of fulfillment. You stop seeking happiness in temporary pleasures and start finding it in the process of growth. Each hardship you face becomes a stepping stone, each challenge a chance to learn something new about yourself. This constant growth leads to a deep sense of satisfaction, a feeling that you are living life to its fullest, not avoiding discomfort, but welcoming it as a necessary part of the journey. In time, you'll come to see that voluntary discomfort is not just about building toughness, it's about building wisdom. Each hardship teaches you something new about yourself, about the world, and about the nature of life itself. You begin to see that life is not about avoiding pain, but about learning how to navigate it with grace. Through discomfort, you find clarity, focus, and purpose. This is the power of voluntary discomfort. It strips away the unnecessary, the superficial, and leaves you with what truly matters. It teaches you that you are stronger than you ever imagined, that you have the power to face anything life throws at you, and in that knowledge, you find peace. The path to mastering yourself through voluntary discomfort opens up a powerful realization. The world outside has limited control over your inner peace. As you step into discomfort, it becomes clear that real strength is not found in avoiding hardship, but in facing it with courage. This internal shift lays the foundation for the next transformation, freeing yourself from the grip of others' opinions. While enduring physical discomfort strengthens the body, cultivating apatheia strengthens the mind. It's about learning how to stand firm in the midst of praise and blame, letting neither sway you from your core values. External validation often dictates how we move through life. Praise makes us feel worthy, while criticism can tear us down. But this constant dance between approval and rejection puts your happiness in the hands of others. The moment you begin to detach from these judgments, both positive and negative, you find a different kind of freedom, one that is rooted in self-awareness and emotional independence. The world no longer has the power to control how you feel about yourself, and that is where true strength lies. Apathy toward praise and blame doesn't mean indifference to life or people. It's about developing a steady inner core that remains unshaken by the changing tides of opinion. Praise can feel rewarding, and blame can sting, but neither should have the power to dictate your actions. When you are grounded in apatheia, you stop acting for the sake of approval. You no longer feel compelled to avoid blame at all costs. Instead, you act based on what is right, not on how you will be perceived. This mindset shift starts with understanding the fleeting nature of opinions. Praise feels good in the moment, but its effect is temporary. People forget your successes as quickly as they praise them. Similarly, blame or criticism may hurt initially, but it too fades with time. When you stop relying on praise to boost your self-esteem, you stop feeling the sting of blame as sharply. You come to realize that external judgments are just noise that has little to do with your true worth. Living with apatheia means you value your own judgment over that of others. You stop looking outside yourself for validation because you know that real validation can only come from within. This doesn't mean shutting people out or ignoring feedback, but it does mean filtering everything through your own understanding of what is right and true. When you trust your inner compass, the opinions of others lose their power over you. When you free yourself from the need for praise, something shifts in your relationships. You no longer act out of a desire to be liked or approved of. Instead, you show up authentically, allowing others to see the real you. This kind of authenticity draws people closer because it is rare to encounter someone who is not swayed by external validation. In this way, cultivating apatheia actually strengthens your relationships. People respect those who are confident enough to stand by their own values, regardless of how they are perceived. An important part of developing apatheia is letting go of the fear of judgment. Fear of being judged can stop you from pursuing your dreams or speaking your truth. But when you realize that others' judgments say more about them than about you, you start to feel lighter. Their opinions don't define you, and you no longer feel the need to defend yourself against every criticism or seek approval for every action. This shift in perspective creates a sense of peace that allows you to move through life with more confidence and ease. Achieving emotional independence from praise and blame requires self-discipline. It's easy to get caught up in the highs of approval and the lows of rejection, but when you practice apatheia, you learn to maintain a steady emotional state, regardless of what others say or think. This emotional steadiness becomes your greatest strength, as it allows you to focus on what truly matters, living according to your values and principles. Living in a world that is constantly judging can feel exhausting. Social media, work environments, even personal relationships often revolve around gaining approval or avoiding criticism. But when you cultivate apatheia, you step out of that exhausting cycle. You stop seeking validation through likes, promotions, or compliments, and instead find contentment in knowing that you are living authentically. This shift frees up an incredible amount of energy that can be directed toward more meaningful pursuits. One of the most profound changes that comes from cultivating apatheia is the reduction of anxiety. Much of the stress in life comes from worrying about how we are perceived, whether people will like us, approve of our choices, or criticize us for our mistakes. When you stop caring about external opinions, that anxiety melts away. You realize that you don't need everyone's approval to be happy. You only need to be aligned with your own sense of right and wrong. Detaching from praise and blame also makes you more resilient in the face of failure. Failure often brings criticism, and fear of that criticism can prevent you from taking risks. But when you no longer fear blame, you become bolder. You take chances because you understand that failure is a part of growth, not a reflection of your worth. Blame may come, but it no longer carries the same weight. You are free to try, fail, and try again, knowing that external judgment is not what defines you. By focusing on your own values rather than on the approval of others, you also become more decisive. When your actions are driven by a desire to avoid criticism or gain praise, your decisions can become clouded. You start to worry about how each choice will be received, rather than whether it is the right choice. But with apatheia, your decisions come from a place of clarity. You are no longer second-guessing yourself or seeking validation from others. You simply do what you know is right. This clarity of purpose allows you to live a life of integrity. When you are no longer swayed by praise or blame, you are able to act in alignment with your principles, even when it's difficult. You are not tempted to compromise your values for the sake of approval, nor are you deterred by the fear of criticism. This kind of integrity is rare, and it sets you apart from those who are constantly seeking to please others. As you cultivate apatheia, you also learn to be more compassionate with yourself. When you stop relying on others' praise to feel good about yourself, you begin to develop a deeper sense of self-worth. You start to see that your value doesn't come from external validation, but from within. This self-compassion allows you to be kinder to yourself when things go wrong. Instead of beating yourself up for every mistake, you learn to forgive yourself and move forward with grace. One of the most valuable aspects of apatheia is that it allows you to live more authentically. When you are no longer concerned with how others see you, you stop pretending to be someone you're not. You stop hiding your true self behind masks of approval-seeking behavior. Instead, you show up as you are, unapologetically. This authenticity not only brings more joy into your life, but it also attracts deeper, more genuine connections with others. Another key benefit of apatheia is that it helps you stay focused on your goals. When you are constantly seeking approval, it's easy to get distracted by what others want or expect from you. But when you let go of the need for praise and fear of blame, you are able to stay focused on what truly matters to you. You are no longer pulled in 100 different directions by others' expectations. Instead, you move steadily toward your own vision for your life. As you develop emotional independence, you also become more adaptable. Praise and blame are both forms of external control, and when you are attached to them, you become a prisoner of others' opinions. But when you cultivate apatheia, you free yourself from that control. You become more flexible in how you respond to challenges because your sense of self-worth is no longer tied to external validation. You are able to navigate life's ups and downs with greater ease, knowing that your value is not determined by others' approval. Living with apatheia also helps you manage conflict more effectively. When you are not swayed by praise or blame, you are able to approach disagreements with a calm, clear mind. You are no longer reactive to criticism, nor are you driven to win others' approval through conflict. Instead, you are able to listen, engage, and respond thoughtfully, without letting your emotions cloud your judgment. This emotional independence allows you to take more responsibility for your own happiness. Instead of relying on others to make you feel good about yourself, you realize that your happiness is within your control. You stop blaming others for your feelings, and you start taking ownership of your own emotional state. This shift in perspective empowers you to create a life that is aligned with your values, rather than one that is dependent on external validation. Through the practice of apatheia, you also develop a deeper sense of peace. Praise and blame create emotional turbulence, pulling you in different directions and making it difficult to maintain a sense of equilibrium. But when you cultivate emotional independence, you are no longer subject to these external forces. You become centered, grounded, and at peace with yourself, regardless of what others say or think. This inner peace allows you to live more fully in the present moment. When you are constantly seeking approval or fearing criticism, your mind is often preoccupied with the past or the future, what others thought of you, or how they will react to your next move. But when you let go of these concerns, you free yourself to be fully present in the here and now. This presence brings a sense of contentment and fulfillment that is not dependent on external validation. As you continue to develop apatheia, you also become more resilient to life's challenges. External judgments often amplify the difficulties we face, making them feel more overwhelming than they are. But when you are no longer concerned with how others perceive you, you are able to face challenges with a clear mind and a steady heart. You are not weighed down by the fear of criticism, nor are you driven by the need for praise. Instead, you approach each challenge with a sense of calm determination, knowing that your worth is not on the line. This resilience also allows you to be more creative in how you approach problems. When you are not concerned with how your solutions will be received, you are free to think outside the box and take risks. You are no longer constrained by the fear of failure or the need for approval. Instead, you are able to explore new possibilities and find innovative solutions that align with your values. Living with apatheia also helps you develop a greater sense of compassion for others. When you are no longer focused on gaining approval or avoiding blame, you are able to see others more clearly. You are not distracted by your own need for validation, and this allows you to be more present and empathetic in your relationships. You become more attuned to others' needs, and you are able to offer support without expecting anything in return. Through the practice of apatheia, you also learn to accept yourself more fully. When you stop seeking external validation, you begin to see that your worth is not tied to what others think of you. You start to appreciate yourself for who you are, rather than for how you are perceived. This self-acceptance allows you to live with more confidence and authenticity, knowing that you are enough just as you are. This self-acceptance also helps you cultivate a greater sense of gratitude. When you are no longer focused on gaining approval or avoiding blame, you are able to appreciate the simple joys of life. You stop comparing yourself to others, and you start to see the beauty in your own journey. This gratitude brings a sense of contentment that is not dependent on external validation, but is rooted in your own sense of worth. Cultivation of apatheia, you ultimately find a deeper sense of freedom. You are no longer a prisoner of others' opinions, nor are you driven by the need for external validation. You are free to live according to your own values, to make choices that align with your principles, and to pursue a life that is meaningful and fulfilling. This freedom is not just a relief from the pressures of approval and blame. It is a profound transformation that allows you to live with true integrity and purpose. As you release yourself from the grip of external validation and the chains of others' opinions, you step into a space where you can live according to your own values. Free from the need to seek approval, life begins to feel more authentic, more grounded in what truly matters to you. But even with this newfound freedom, there is another profound truth that must guide every step you take: the fact that your time is limited. Life, though precious, is finite. This truth is not something to fear, but rather something to embrace. It serves as the greatest reminder that every day, every choice, every moment counts more than we often realize. Memento mori, the practice of remembering that you will die, brings an extraordinary clarity to how you live your life now. When you face the reality that life is temporary, procrastination starts to feel like a luxury you can no longer afford. You recognize that the moments spent delaying action or avoiding hard choices are moments you will never get back. Suddenly, the importance of acting with purpose becomes impossible to ignore. This awareness brings urgency to the things that matter most, encouraging you to stop waiting for the right time and to start making meaningful decisions today. Life doesn't wait, and neither should you. The awareness of mortality sharpens your focus. It cuts through the distractions of everyday life, pulling your attention toward the things that truly hold value. Many people drift through life, caught up in trivial pursuits, forgetting that their time here is not endless. But when you live with the constant reminder that every day could be your last, you start to prioritize differently. You stop wasting energy on things that do not serve you, and you begin to allocate your time toward what truly matters, whether that's nurturing relationships, pursuing your passions, or simply living in alignment with your values. This awareness also brings a profound sense of gratitude. When you know that each day is a gift, you begin to see life in a different light. The small moments, like the warmth of the sun on your skin, the laughter of a loved one, or the quiet peace of a morning coffee, take on greater significance. Gratitude becomes a natural response to the understanding that none of this is guaranteed. In this way, memento mori isn't just about motivating action, it's about deepening your appreciation for the life you already have. Reflecting on mortality doesn't need to be morbid. In fact, it's an invitation to live more fully, to embrace the present moment with greater awareness. Many people live as though they have endless time, putting off their dreams, deferring their happiness for some distant future. But when you acknowledge the finite nature of your existence, you stop deferring your life. You stop telling yourself, someday, and begin asking, why not now? This mindset shift is transformative, pushing you to pursue the things that matter before it's too late. By integrating memento mori into your daily thoughts, you begin to strip away the illusions of permanence that cloud your judgment. You start to see that nothing in life is guaranteed. Your job, your relationships, your health, or even the simple joys of everyday existence. This realization doesn't lead to despair, but rather empowers you to act with greater intention. When you stop taking things for granted, you treat them with the care and attention they deserve. When faced with the truth of mortality, the fears that often hold you back from taking bold actions begin to fade. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of making the wrong decision. These anxieties seem smaller when viewed through the lens of memento mori. After all, what's the worst that could happen? If you know that your time is limited, you also know that taking risks is a vital part of living fully. You become less afraid to fail, and more afraid of not trying at all. Living with the knowledge of death's inevitability fosters a deeper sense of purpose. It urges you to move through life with a greater sense of direction, no longer content to simply drift along without intention. Every decision becomes an opportunity to align your actions with your values, to make choices that contribute to the legacy you want to leave behind. When you reflect on the fact that one day you will no longer be here, you start asking yourself more meaningful questions. What do I want my life to stand for? What impact do I want to have on the people I care about? This practice encourages you to step away from distractions and focus on what you want your life to be about. When you know that time is limited, you are far less likely to waste it scrolling endlessly on social media or worrying about things beyond your control. Instead, you seek depth in your experiences, in your relationships, and in your work. You begin to live with a mindfulness that brings clarity and meaning to even the simplest moments. In this way, memento mori acts as a compass, guiding you toward the things that matter most. It helps you make better decisions, ones that are grounded in long-term significance rather than short-term satisfaction. When you understand that your days are numbered, you start to choose differently. You choose to spend your time with the people who matter most, to focus on the projects that bring you fulfillment, and to let go of the things that no longer serve you. Reflecting on death also strengthens your resolve to live with integrity. When you know that one day your life will come to an end, you are less likely to compromise your values for temporary gains. You start to ask yourself whether the choices you're making today will matter in the grand scheme of things. You become less concerned with fleeting pleasures or superficial success, and more focused on living a life that is meaningful, grounded in principles that you will be proud to look back on. Living with the knowledge of mortality also teaches you to embrace impermanence. You start to see that nothing in life is static. Everything is in a constant state of change. This understanding helps you to let go of attachments that keep you stuck in the past or overly concerned with the future. You learn to flow with life's transitions, understanding that each ending makes way for a new beginning. This perspective brings peace, even in moments of loss, because you know that everything is part of the natural cycle of life. When you practice memento mori, you also develop a greater sense of humility. Death is the great equalizer. It comes for everyone, regardless of status, wealth, or power. This realization can strip away the ego-driven desires that often cloud your judgment. You become less focused on proving yourself to others and more focused on living authentically. The need to accumulate more success, more accolades, more possessions, starts to lose its appeal when you realize that none of it will matter in the end. Reflecting on death also helps you cultivate compassion. Knowing that everyone around you is on the same journey, facing the same inevitable end, deepens your empathy for others. You begin to treat people with more kindness, understanding that their struggles are just as real and temporary as your own. This shared awareness of mortality connects you more deeply to the human experience, fostering a sense of unity and compassion. One of the most powerful effects of memento mori is that it encourages you to take full responsibility for your life. Knowing that your time is limited means that you can't afford to waste it blaming others or waiting for circumstances to change. You understand that the life you want to live is in your hands, and you must take ownership of it. This sense of responsibility is empowering. It puts you in control of your destiny and pushes you to create the life you want while you still have the chance. By embracing the reality of death, you also free yourself from the fear of the unknown. Many people live in constant fear of what will happen after they die, or they avoid thinking about it altogether. But when you make peace with the fact that death is a natural part of life, you stop fearing it. You understand that death is simply the closing chapter of a life well lived. This acceptance allows you to live more fully in the present, without being weighed down by existential fears. The practice of memento mori also teaches you to release control. So much of life is unpredictable, and death is the ultimate reminder that not everything is within your power. By accepting this truth, you learn to focus on what you can control, your actions, your responses, and your choices. This brings a sense of freedom as you stop wasting energy on things that are beyond your reach and start directing your efforts toward what truly matters. When you make memento mori a daily practice, you begin to live with more courage. You understand that playing it safe, staying in your comfort zone, and avoiding risks won't protect you from the inevitable. Instead, you embrace life's challenges with a sense of fearlessness, knowing that the only real failure is to have never tried. Each day becomes an opportunity to push your boundaries, to grow, and to experience life to the fullest. This mindset also encourages you to live with more love. When you know that time with your loved ones is finite, you stop taking them for granted. You make an effort to connect more deeply, to express your appreciation, and to show up fully in your relationships. You understand that the moments you share with them are precious and fleeting, and you make the most of them while you still can. Living with memento mori also brings clarity to your legacy. You start to think about how you want to be remembered, not in terms of accomplishments, but in terms of the impact you've had on others. This shift in perspective pushes you to focus on the things that truly matter: kindness, generosity, integrity, because these are the qualities that will outlive you. The legacy you leave behind is not built on material success, but on the love and wisdom you've shared with those around you. Ultimately, practicing memento mori allows you to live with purpose. It pushes you to make the most of each day, to align your actions with your deepest values, and to create a life that is meaningful and fulfilling. It strips away the distractions and trivial concerns that often dominate your thoughts, and it brings your attention back to what truly matters. This practice isn't about fearing death. It's about using the knowledge of death to live a life that is rich, purposeful, and full of meaning. As the understanding of mortality deepens your appreciation for life and sharpens your focus on what truly matters, you become more aligned with the flow of existence. Recognizing that time is limited pushes you to act with purpose, but it also reveals a larger truth, that suffering is an inescapable part of this life. Just as death is inevitable, so too are pain, loss, and hardship. However, rather than fighting against this reality, Stoicism invites you to embrace sympathia, the power of indifference to suffering. It's not about ignoring pain, but about understanding it as part of the universe's natural order, woven into the very fabric of existence. This wisdom shifts your perspective, allowing you to face adversity with a calm heart and an open mind. Suffering, at its core, is not something to be feared. It is an essential part of the human experience, and when you accept it, you reduce its power over you. The Stoics teach that all things are interconnected, that we are part of a vast, universal order where everything has its place, including suffering. When you understand that pain is a natural occurrence, not a personal attack, you begin to face it differently. It becomes less of a burden and more of a condition to be accepted with grace. The idea of being indifferent to suffering is not about becoming numb to life's challenges, but about approaching them with a balanced mind. Often, suffering is amplified by our reactions to it, our resistance, our frustration, our refusal to accept what is happening. But when you practice sympathia, you start to see suffering for what it is: temporary, unavoidable, and part of the larger flow of life. This perspective helps you detach emotionally from the pain, allowing you to handle it with clarity and strength. Understanding that suffering is universal helps to lessen the personal weight of it. Everyone, regardless of their status, background, or achievements, faces hardship. This knowledge fosters a deep sense of connection to others, reminding you that you are not alone in your struggles. Your pain is part of the shared human experience, and in this shared experience, there is comfort. When you stop seeing suffering as something that isolates you, it becomes less daunting. Indifference to suffering also allows you to maintain focus on what truly matters. When pain comes, it often distracts us from our goals, pulling us into a cycle of self-pity or fear. But sympathia teaches you to stay grounded, to not let suffering derail your journey. You accept it as part of the path, not as a barrier to your progress. This acceptance empowers you to continue forward, even when the road becomes difficult. Through sympathia, you also gain a clearer understanding of the impermanence of suffering. pain, like all things in life, is temporary. It comes and goes, just as joy, success, and failure do. When you fully grasp this truth, you no longer react to suffering with panic or despair. You understand that just as it arrived, it will eventually pass. This awareness brings a sense of peace, even in the midst of hardship. One of the most transformative aspects of sympathia is that it encourages you to see suffering as an opportunity for growth. Rather than viewing it as something to avoid at all costs, you start to recognize that pain can be a powerful teacher. It challenges you, tests your resilience, and ultimately helps you become stronger. By embracing suffering as part of the process of becoming, you find meaning in even the most difficult moments. This practice also helps you let go of the need to control everything in life. Suffering often arises from our attempts to control situations that are beyond our power. But when you accept that the universe operates on its own terms, you release the need to manage every outcome. You understand that some things will happen regardless of your efforts, and this acceptance brings a sense of liberation. You stop wasting energy on trying to avoid pain and start focusing on how to move through it with wisdom. Suffering also teaches patience. When you are indifferent to pain, you are less likely to seek immediate relief or quick solutions. Instead, you learn to sit with discomfort, allowing it to unfold naturally. This patience develops a deeper resilience within you, one that isn't shaken by the ups and downs of life. You come to understand that enduring hardship is not a sign of weakness, but a demonstration of strength. Indifference to suffering also brings clarity to your decision-making. When pain is no longer something you fear, you make choices based on what is right, rather than what is easy. Many people make decisions out of a desire to avoid discomfort, but when you embrace suffering as part of life, you are free to choose the path that aligns with your values, even if it's a harder road. This leads to a more authentic, purpose-driven life. In practicing sympathia, you also become more compassionate toward others. Understanding that suffering is universal opens your heart to the pain of those around you. You no longer view others' struggles as distant or disconnected from your own experience. Instead, you recognize that their pain is part of the same web of existence that you are part of. This connection fosters empathy and a desire to help, not out of pity, but out of solidarity. At the same time, sympathia teaches you to avoid being consumed by others' suffering. Compassion is not about taking on the pain of others, but about offering support while maintaining your own emotional balance. You can be present for others without letting their struggles overwhelm you. This balanced approach allows you to offer more meaningful help, as you are not clouded by emotional reactions, but guided by a calm, steady mind. Indifference to suffering also allows you to find joy in the midst of hardship. When you accept pain as a natural part of life, you stop waiting for the perfect moment to feel happiness. You learn to appreciate the small moments of beauty and joy that exist even during difficult times. This doesn't mean ignoring your pain, but rather recognizing that life's light can still shine through, even in the darkest moments. Through this practice, you develop a deeper sense of trust in the universe. You start to see that everything, even suffering, has its place in the grand scheme of things. There is a purpose to the pain, even if you can't see it in the moment. This trust helps you to let go of the need to have all the answers and instead to accept life as it comes. This acceptance doesn't mean resignation. It means choosing to face life with grace, no matter what it brings. Indifference to suffering also strengthens your ability to focus on the present moment. Pain often pulls you into the past or projects fear into the future, but when you are indifferent to it, you remain grounded in the here and now. You stop worrying about what might happen or dwelling on what has already occurred. This presence allows you to experience life more fully, without being weighed down by fear or regret. When you approach suffering with sympatheia, you also develop a greater sense of humility. You recognize that you are not in control of everything, and that life's challenges are part of something much larger than yourself. This humility helps you to let go of pride and ego, allowing you to face adversity with an open heart and mind, rather than with defensiveness or resistance. This practice also helps you to reframe the way you view failure. Often, failure is accompanied by suffering, leading many to avoid taking risks. But when you embrace sympatheia, failure is no longer something to fear. You understand that setbacks and mistakes are part of the natural flow of life, and that they too can be valuable learning experiences. This perspective frees you to take bold action without being paralyzed by the fear of what might go wrong. Suffering also deepens your gratitude. When you accept that pain is part of life, you start to appreciate the moments of peace and joy more deeply. You stop taking the good times for granted because you understand that they are precious and fleeting. This gratitude helps you to savor life's beauty, even in the midst of hardship, creating a more balanced and fulfilling experience of life. Indifference to suffering allows you to maintain your integrity even in difficult times. When pain arises, it's easy to compromise your values in search of comfort or relief. But when you are indifferent to suffering, you remain true to yourself, no matter what challenges you face. This commitment to your principles strengthens your character and ensures that you live a life aligned with your highest ideals. Suffering becomes a tool for growth rather than something to be avoided. When you are no longer consumed by the fear of pain, you become open to the lessons it offers. Every challenge, every hardship, carries within it the potential for transformation. Through sympatheia, you embrace this transformation, allowing suffering to refine and strengthen you rather than break you. Sympatheia brings you closer to the essence of what it means to be human. It teaches you that life is not meant to be easy, but that within the struggle lies the potential for profound wisdom and inner peace. This wisdom is not about escaping pain, but about learning to coexist with it, understanding that suffering is just another part of the grand tapestry of life. Through this practice, you find peace, not by avoiding hardship, but by embracing it as an integral part of your journey. As you develop indifference to suffering through sympatheia, understanding the natural place of pain in the universe, you also gain a deeper sense of acceptance of life's flow. In doing so, you learn to let go of what is beyond your control, including the expectations and judgments that society often places on you. This leads to another profound Stoic teaching: detaching from the roles you play in life. While it's easy to define yourself by the titles you hold, parent, friend, worker, the truth is that these roles do not define your essence. The practice of oikeiosis teaches that, while roles are important, they must not limit your sense of self, or become cages that trap you into a way of being that conflicts with your true nature. In life, you are constantly shifting between different roles, adapting to the demands of each situation. At work, you may need to be a leader or a colleague. At home, a parent or a partner. But these are only parts of who you are. The danger comes when you allow these roles to consume you, making you believe that you are only as valuable as your ability to succeed in them. If you measure your worth by how well you perform in a particular role, any failure or criticism can feel like a threat to your entire identity. But by practicing detachment, you remind yourself that your core self exists beyond any single role. This detachment is not about neglecting your responsibilities. Instead, it's about maintaining a healthy distance from the outcomes tied to these roles. You still show up fully in each role, doing your best to honor your commitments, but you stop allowing them to dictate your sense of self-worth. The ability to step back from these identities gives you the freedom to act from a place of virtue, rather than from fear of judgment or desire for approval. You act not because you need to prove yourself, but because it is the right thing to do. By detaching from roles, you reduce the fear of failure. When you are deeply tied to a role, failure within that context can feel devastating. A setback at work can shake your confidence. A disagreement in a relationship can leave you questioning your value. But when you recognize that failure in one role doesn't define your entire being, the fear of failing lessens. You become more resilient, understanding that mistakes and challenges are simply part of the process, not reflections of your worth as a person. This detachment also allows you to focus on living in alignment with your principles, rather than constantly adapting to meet the expectations placed upon you by society or others. When you are overly identified with a role, it's easy to get caught up in what others expect of you, whether it's meeting deadlines at work, being the perfect parent, or fulfilling the obligations of friendship. But when you practice oikeiosis, you center yourself on your own values, making decisions based on what you believe is right, not what society demands. Letting go of role-based identity also brings a deeper sense of peace. The constant pressure to perform and live up to expectations can be exhausting, but detachment from these roles allows you to relax into your true self. You stop chasing perfection within these roles and instead focus on doing your best, while knowing that your worth is not tied to any specific outcome. This peace brings with it a sense of inner calm, even when the external world is chaotic. When you detach from roles, you also allow others to do the same. Often, we unconsciously place expectations on those around us based on the roles they play in our lives, whether they are our partners, children, friends, or colleagues. But by practicing detachment for yourself, you naturally extend that freedom to others. You stop expecting people to fit neatly into the roles you've assigned them, and you start appreciating them for who they truly are. This creates healthier, more authentic relationships built on mutual respect rather than on obligation or expectation. This process of detachment reveals a deeper truth about identity. You are more than the sum of the roles you play. Society often encourages you to define yourself by your achievements or by how well you fulfill your roles. But true fulfillment comes from recognizing that your value lies not in what you do, but in who you are. By stepping back from the identities that roles impose, you create space to explore your deeper self, your true nature, and live from that authentic place. Detaching from roles also teaches you the power of adaptability. Life is constantly changing, and the roles you play today may not be the ones you hold tomorrow. If your identity is too tightly tied to a particular role, any shift, whether it's a job loss, the end of a relationship, or a change in family dynamics, can leave you feeling lost. But when you practice oikeiosis, you understand that roles are temporary. You learn to adapt with grace, knowing that who you are remains constant, even as your external circumstances change. This adaptability brings a sense of freedom. You are no longer constrained by the limitations of any one role. When you detach, you give yourself permission to grow, to evolve, and to explore new paths. You are no longer confined to the expectations that come with a specific identity, and you allow yourself to become more fully the person you are meant to be. This freedom opens the door to endless possibilities, as you are no longer bound by the rigid definitions of who you should be. As you practice detachment, you also begin to notice how roles can create unnecessary stress. When you are overly attached to a role, every challenge within that role feels magnified. A minor setback at work can feel like a catastrophe because your sense of self is so tied to your professional success. But when you detach, you gain perspective. You see that challenges within a role are just part of life's natural ebb and flow. They no longer hold the same emotional weight, and you are able to respond to them with more clarity and calm. This clarity extends to your decision-making as well. When you are no longer making choices based on the need to uphold a particular role, you are free to act in ways that align with your true values. You stop making decisions out of fear or obligation and start making them from a place of integrity. This shift not only brings more peace to your life, but also allows you to live more authentically, without constantly worrying about how you are being perceived in a given role. The practice of detachment from roles also fosters humility. When you recognize that no single role defines you, you stop seeking validation through titles or achievements. You become less concerned with accumulating status or recognition and more focused on living with purpose and virtue. This humility brings with it a sense of contentment, as you no longer feel the need to prove yourself to others. You are grounded in your own sense of self-worth, which is not dependent on external validation. At the same time, detachment from roles does not mean abandoning them. You still honor your responsibilities, but you approach them with a healthier mindset. You understand that roles are important, but they do not define you. This perspective allows you to engage more fully in your roles, not out of a need to prove yourself, but out of a genuine desire to contribute and serve. You play each role to the best of your ability, but you are not bound by the outcomes. As you detach from roles, you also become more open to change. Many people resist change because it threatens their sense of identity. But when you are no longer tied to any particular role, change becomes less frightening. You understand that your true self remains intact, no matter what happens in the external world. This openness to change allows you to navigate life's transitions with more ease, knowing that your identity is not at stake. This openness also leads to greater flexibility in your relationships. When you are not overly attached to the roles you play in others' lives, you give them the freedom to change and grow as well. You stop expecting them to remain static, and you allow your relationships to evolve naturally. This flexibility fosters deeper connections, as you are no longer clinging to outdated expectations or rigid definitions of who you or they should be. Detaching from roles also helps you release the need for control. When you are overly identified with a role, you may feel the need to control every aspect of it, whether it's how you perform in that role or how others perceive you. But when you practice oikeiosis, you let go of this need for control. You understand that you cannot control everything, and that your worth is not determined by how perfectly you execute a role. This release of control brings with it a sense of relief and freedom. At its core, detaching from roles allows you to live more authentically. You are no longer bound by societal expectations or by the pressure to fit into a particular identity. Instead, you are free to live in alignment with your true self, guided by your own values and principles. This authenticity not only brings more joy into your life, but also attracts deeper, more meaningful relationships with others. As you continue to practice oikeiosis, you become more resilient in the face of life's challenges. When you are not overly attached to a role, setbacks within that role no longer feel catastrophic. You are able to weather life's storms with greater ease, knowing that your identity is not tied to any external circumstances. This resilience allows you to face challenges with confidence and calm, knowing that no matter what happens, you remain grounded in your true self. Detaching from roles allows you to live with greater peace and clarity. You are no longer caught up in the constant struggle to prove yourself or to meet others' expectations. Instead, you are free to live from a place of inner strength and integrity, guided by your own principles rather than by the roles you play. This shift brings a profound sense of freedom, as you are no longer confined by the limitations of any particular identity. You are free to be who you truly are, and in that freedom, you find true fulfillment. As you release yourself from the confines of roles and discover a deeper sense of identity rooted in your true self, a new sense of clarity begins to emerge. You are no longer driven by the need to meet external expectations or to perform according to societal standards. With this clarity, the next step becomes apparent: learning to master the art of selective neglect. Life presents an overwhelming number of demands, but not all of them deserve your attention. In fact, most of them do not. By choosing to neglect the unnecessary, you free yourself to focus on what truly matters. This practice of deliberate focus allows you to channel your energy and attention toward the things that actually contribute to your growth, peace, and fulfillment. In a world that constantly demands more from you, selective neglect becomes a powerful tool. The pressure to keep up with everything, whether it's social obligations, work responsibilities, or personal goals, can quickly become overwhelming. But when you embrace the idea of selective neglect, you stop trying to do it all. Instead, you make a conscious decision to prioritize only what is truly important. This act of prioritizing helps you conserve your energy, reducing stress and anxiety, and allowing you to direct your focus where it counts. This concept teaches you that not everything deserves your time. While society often values busyness as a sign of productivity, Stoicism encourages you to look deeper. What's the point of being busy if it's not moving you toward a more meaningful life? Selective neglect helps you strip away the distractions that don't serve your higher purpose, so that you can invest your time and effort into the things that truly matter, whether it's your relationships, your personal growth, or your health. By embracing selective neglect, you also gain a clearer sense of direction. Life is full of noise, and much of it can pull you off course if you're not careful. Social media, unnecessary drama, or even tasks that don't align with your values can easily steal your attention. When you practice selective neglect, you create a filter through which you view the world. You begin to recognize what is essential and what is simply clutter. This clarity allows you to make decisions that align with your goals, rather than getting caught up in the chaos of daily life. Neglecting what's unnecessary also cultivates a sense of inner calm. When you are constantly trying to manage every aspect of life, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. But when you deliberately let go of the things that don't matter, you create space for peace. Your mind is no longer cluttered with endless to-do lists or worries about insignificant details. Instead, you are able to focus on the present moment, fully engaged in the things that bring you joy and fulfillment. Through this process, you also learn the value of saying no. Selective neglect is not just about what you choose to ignore, it's about setting boundaries and protecting your time and energy. Every time you say no to something that doesn't serve your growth, you are saying yes to something that does. This act of self-preservation allows you to guard your well-being, ensuring that you have the energy and focus to invest in the things that truly matter. One of the key benefits of selective neglect is that it frees up mental space for creativity and innovation. When your mind is constantly occupied with trivial matters, there is little room for new ideas or deeper thinking. But when you clear away the unnecessary, you open up space for creative thought and problem-solving. This freedom allows you to approach challenges with a fresh perspective, unburdened by the weight of distractions. Selective neglect also fosters resilience. By choosing to focus only on what matters, you become more adept at handling life's challenges. You no longer waste time and energy on things that are out of your control or irrelevant to your growth. This focus helps you remain steady in the face of adversity, as you are not distracted by the noise around you. You are able to approach challenges with clarity and purpose, knowing that your attention is reserved for what truly matters. In practicing selective neglect, you also become more efficient. By narrowing your focus to only the most important tasks, you are able to work with greater intention and productivity. You are no longer spreading yourself thin, trying to manage everything at once. Instead, you dedicate your time and effort to the things that will have the greatest impact. This approach not only improves your performance, but also helps you achieve your goals more effectively. Another significant benefit of selective neglect is that it reduces decision fatigue. When you are constantly faced with an overwhelming number of choices, it can become exhausting to make even the simplest decisions. But by deliberately neglecting what doesn't matter, you simplify your life. You reduce the number of decisions you need to make, allowing you to focus your mental energy on the things that truly require your attention. Through selective neglect, you also cultivate a deeper sense of self-discipline. It takes discipline to resist the temptation to engage in every opportunity, task, or conversation that comes your way. But by practicing this discipline, you strengthen your ability to stay focused on your long-term goals. You develop the skill of prioritizing what matters most, even when it's difficult or inconvenient. This self-discipline becomes a cornerstone of your personal growth and success. By mastering the art of selective neglect, you also develop a stronger sense of self-awareness. As you learn to distinguish between what is essential and what is not, you become more in tune with your own needs, values, and goals. This heightened awareness allows you to make decisions that are aligned with your true self, rather than being swayed by external pressures or distractions. You become more intentional in how you spend your time and energy, ensuring that every action is purposeful. Selective neglect also brings freedom from the constant pursuit of perfection. Many people feel the need to manage every detail of their lives, striving for perfection in everything they do. But this pursuit can be exhausting and unfulfilling. By letting go of what doesn't matter, you release yourself from the pressure to be perfect in all areas. Instead, you focus on doing your best in the areas that truly count, while accepting that some things can be left undone without consequence. Through this practice, you also become more present in your relationships. When you are not distracted by unnecessary obligations or concerns, you are able to fully engage with the people who matter most to you. You listen more deeply, connect more meaningfully, and show up more fully in your interactions. This presence strengthens your relationships and brings greater fulfillment to your connections with others. Selective neglect also teaches you to let go of the fear of missing out. In a world where opportunities and distractions are endless, it's easy to feel like you need to be involved in everything. But when you prioritize what truly matters, you stop worrying about what you're missing. You realize that true fulfillment doesn't come from doing everything, but from doing the right things. This shift in perspective helps you focus on your own path, free from the anxiety of comparison or competition. This practice also helps you cultivate patience. In a culture that values instant gratification, it's easy to feel pressured to respond to every demand immediately. But selective neglect teaches you that not everything requires your immediate attention. You learn to prioritize what needs to be addressed now and what can wait. This patience helps you approach life with a more measured, thoughtful pace, reducing stress and increasing your sense of control. As you master selective neglect, you also develop a deeper sense of trust in yourself. You become confident in your ability to discern what is truly important and to let go of what isn't. This trust empowers you to make decisions with greater ease, knowing that you are focused on what truly matters. You stop second-guessing yourself or seeking external validation, as you know that your choices are aligned with your values. Selective neglect also helps you embrace the imperfection of life. Not everything can be managed or controlled, and that's okay. By letting go of what doesn't matter, you make peace with the fact that some things will remain unfinished or imperfect. This acceptance brings a sense of relief and freedom, as you are no longer burdened by the need to have everything figured out or perfectly in place. Through this practice, you also gain a greater appreciation for the things that truly matter. When you stop trying to manage everything, you start to see the value in the few things that do require your attention. You become more grateful for your time, your relationships, and your personal growth, knowing that these are the things that bring true fulfillment. Selective neglect also fosters a sense of courage. It takes courage to say no to the things that don't matter, especially when there is pressure to say yes. But by practicing this courage, you build inner strength and resilience. You learn to stand firm in your priorities, even when it's difficult or unpopular. This courage allows you to live with greater authenticity and integrity. By mastering the art of selective neglect, you also cultivate a sense of balance in your life. You are no longer trying to juggle everything at once, constantly feeling overwhelmed. Instead, you create a more harmonious flow, where your time and energy are spent on the things that truly matter. This balance brings a deeper sense of fulfillment and peace, as you are no longer pulled in 100 different directions. Selective neglect also helps you develop a long-term perspective. When you focus only on what is essential, you stop getting caught up in short-term distractions. You start to see the bigger picture, understanding that true success and fulfillment come from sustained effort over time. This perspective helps you make decisions that are aligned with your long-term goals, rather than being swayed by immediate gratification or temporary concerns. Through selective neglect, you learn to prioritize your own well-being. In a world that often values productivity over personal health, it's easy to neglect your own needs in the pursuit of success. But by practicing selective neglect, you make a conscious decision to prioritize your mental, emotional, and physical well-being. You understand that true success is not just about achieving external goals, but about living a balanced, fulfilling life that nourishes your entire being. As you gain mastery over selective neglect, learning to focus only on what truly matters, a new perspective begins to emerge. The more you filter out the unnecessary, the more you can approach life with clarity and intention. This newfound clarity naturally leads to another Stoic practice, seeing yourself as both an actor and a spectator in life's unfolding drama. While you perform your roles with full commitment, you also learn to observe from a distance, detached from the emotional turbulence that often accompanies life's events. This dual perspective gives you the ability to maintain calm and control, even when the world around you feels chaotic. By viewing life as a play, you begin to understand that you are not entirely defined by the roles you play, nor by the events that happen to you. You have a part to perform, but at the same time, you can step outside of it and observe. This act of observation creates a buffer between you and the emotional intensity of life. When something goes wrong, you are not overwhelmed by it, because you recognize that, just like in a play, it is a scene that will eventually pass. This detachment doesn't mean indifference, it means clarity of mind and emotional control. This perspective helps you see the bigger picture. In the moment, life's challenges and triumphs may seem all-encompassing, but when you take a step back and watch as a spectator, you realize that they are just small parts of a larger narrative. The highs and lows no longer hold the same power over you because you see them for what they are, temporary. This awareness helps you navigate difficult times with greater resilience and approach joyful moments with a deeper sense of appreciation, knowing that nothing is permanent. Being a spectator in your own life allows you to separate yourself from your emotions. While emotions are a natural part of the human experience, they can often cloud judgment and lead to impulsive reactions. But when you adopt the perspective of an observer, you create space between yourself and those emotions. You can acknowledge them without letting them control your actions. This detachment empowers you to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. By watching yourself as a spectator, you gain the ability to reflect on your actions more clearly. You are no longer caught up in the heat of the moment, driven by emotion or external pressures. Instead, you can assess each situation with a calm mind, considering whether your actions align with your values and long-term goals. This reflection leads to greater self-awareness, helping you make more intentional decisions. The practice of observing life from a distance also teaches you the impermanence of everything. Just as a scene in a play comes and goes, so too do the events in your life. Whether you're experiencing success or facing hardship, it's all part of a larger unfolding. By keeping this perspective, you learn not to cling too tightly to the good times or fear the bad ones. You understand that everything is in constant motion, and your role is to play your part while remaining aware of the bigger story. This detachment doesn't mean disengagement. You still fully participate in life, but you do so with a sense of balance. You remain active in your roles, whether as a friend, parent, or professional, but you are not consumed by them. This allows you to give your best to each moment without becoming overwhelmed by it. You live with a sense of purpose, but without the emotional highs and lows that often come from being too attached to outcomes. As a spectator, you also begin to see patterns in your behavior. You notice how you tend to react in certain situations, what triggers emotional responses, and how your actions impact your well-being. This awareness helps you identify areas for growth, allowing you to refine your approach to life. Instead of getting stuck in the same emotional cycles, you become more conscious of your choices, leading to more thoughtful, purposeful actions. Seeing yourself as a spectator also gives you a sense of freedom. You are no longer bound by the need to control every aspect of your life or to force things to happen a certain way. You understand that, like in a play, not everything is within your control. This acceptance frees you from the anxiety of trying to manage every outcome. You become more open to the flow of life, trusting that you can handle whatever comes your way with calmness and resilience. This perspective also helps you let go of the need for approval. When you see life as a performance, you realize that others are also playing their roles. Their opinions, judgments, and reactions are part of their own narrative and have little to do with your true self. This detachment allows you to stop seeking validation from others and instead focus on living according to your own values. You perform your role to the best of your ability, not for applause, but because it aligns with who you are. In moments of conflict or tension, adopting the perspective of a spectator helps you remain calm. When you step back and observe the situation, you gain a clearer understanding of what is really happening. You see the emotions, the motivations, and the dynamics at play without getting entangled in them. This distance allows you to respond with greater wisdom and patience, rather than being swept up in the heat of the moment. This practice also fosters a sense of humility. When you view life as a play, you realize that you are just one part of a much larger story. This awareness helps you stay grounded, even in moments of success or recognition. You understand that while your role is important, it is not the whole story. This humility keeps you from becoming overly attached to your achievements or taking setbacks too personally. Through this detachment, you also develop a deeper sense of compassion. As you watch your own life unfold, you begin to understand that everyone around you is also playing their part, experiencing their own challenges and triumphs. This perspective allows you to be more empathetic, recognizing that others' actions are often driven by forces beyond their control. You become more forgiving, both of yourself and others, as you understand that everyone is doing their best within the context of their own narrative. As a spectator, you also become more curious about life. When you are not so tightly bound to your own emotional reactions, you can approach life with a sense of wonder and openness. You begin to see each moment as an opportunity to learn, to observe, and to grow. This curiosity helps you remain engaged with life, even in difficult times, as you understand that every experience has something to teach you. This perspective also helps you release attachment to outcomes. When you view life as a play, you understand that not everything will go according to your script. This acceptance frees you from the frustration and disappointment that often come from unmet expectations. You do your best in each moment, but you are not attached to how things turn out. This detachment allows you to approach life with greater flexibility and ease. Through this practice, you also develop a greater sense of inner peace. The emotional ups and downs of life no longer have the same hold on you, because you understand that they are temporary. You remain centered, even when the external world is chaotic, because you are not as easily swayed by the drama around you. This inner calm allows you to navigate life's challenges with grace, knowing that you are not defined by any one moment or experience. As a spectator, you also gain a deeper appreciation for the richness of life. When you are not consumed by the need to control or manage everything, you are free to observe and enjoy the unfolding of life. You become more present in each moment, appreciating the beauty and complexity of the world around you. This presence brings a sense of fulfillment that is not tied to external success or validation, but comes from simply being engaged with life. By mastering the art of being both actor and spectator, you also strengthen your sense of self-awareness. You become more conscious of how you move through life, how you react to situations, and how you interact with others. This heightened awareness helps you make more intentional choices, leading to a life that is more aligned with your values and purpose. This practice allows you to live with greater freedom and authenticity. You are no longer bound by the emotional highs and lows of life's drama. Instead, you move through life with a sense of calm, clarity, and purpose. You perform your role with dedication, but you are not defined by it. You observe your life with curiosity and detachment, allowing you to experience the richness of life without being consumed by it. In this balance, you find true peace and fulfillment. As you step back to observe your life like a spectator in its unfolding drama, you cultivate a sense of detachment that allows you to navigate with calm and clarity. This perspective gives you the power to see the value in restraint, both in action and in words. The next step toward refining your approach to life is mastering the art of silence. In a world filled with noise, words are often spoken without thought, diluting their meaning and distracting from what truly matters. Stoicism teaches that silence is not emptiness, but a powerful tool that deepens your insight and amplifies the value of your words when you do choose to speak. The discipline of silence starts with knowing when to hold back. Not every thought needs to be expressed, and not every conversation needs your input. In fact, withholding words can often speak louder than adding to the noise. Silence creates space, space to think, space to reflect, space to consider the weight of your words. When you pause before speaking, you give yourself the chance to ask, is this necessary? Is it true? Is it kind? This pause is where wisdom resides. When you learn the value of silence, you also gain control over your impulses. Many people speak out of habit, anxiety, or the need to fill a void. But when you choose silence, you resist the urge to react instantly. This control over your speech translates into control over your emotions. You no longer feel the need to defend yourself at every turn or to prove a point in every conversation. Silence becomes a shield, protecting you from the chaos of unfiltered thoughts and unnecessary conflicts. Silence also sharpens your ability to listen. When you are no longer focused on what you're going to say next, you become fully present with the person in front of you. You listen not just to respond, but to understand. This kind of listening deepens your relationships, as people feel truly heard and valued. In a world where so many are quick to speak and slow to listen, your silence becomes a gift that fosters deeper connection. Through silence, you also develop a stronger sense of self-awareness. When you refrain from speaking, you are left alone with your thoughts. This solitude forces you to confront your inner world, the beliefs, assumptions, and emotions that often go unexamined when you are constantly engaging in conversation. Silence becomes a mirror, reflecting back to you the truth of your own mind, helping you to grow in self-understanding and wisdom. The discipline of silence also enhances the quality of your speech when you do choose to speak. When words are rare, they are valued more. You become more intentional with your language, choosing words that carry meaning rather than just filling space. This intentionality gives your words weight, making them more impactful when shared. People will listen more closely because they know that when you speak, it is worth hearing. Practicing silence also teaches you patience. Conversations often move quickly, with each person eager to share their thoughts and opinions. But when you embrace silence, you allow the conversation to unfold at its natural pace. You don't feel the need to rush in or interrupt. This patience allows for deeper, more thoughtful exchanges, as you give both yourself and others the time to fully consider what is being said. In moments of conflict, silence can be a powerful tool for maintaining peace. When emotions are high, words can escalate tensions. But choosing silence allows the heat of the moment to pass, giving you the space to respond with clarity rather than reacting impulsively. Silence creates a buffer that can prevent misunderstandings and preserve relationships, allowing you to engage with more wisdom and composure. Silence also fosters humility. When you hold back from speaking, you acknowledge that you don't always need to have the final word or offer your opinion. This humility allows you to step back and consider the perspectives of others without feeling the need to insert yourself into every conversation. In doing so, you create space for learning and growth as you open yourself to the insights and experiences of those around you. This practice also helps you conserve your energy. Speaking constantly can be draining, especially when much of what is said holds little value. By choosing silence, you conserve your mental and emotional energy, allowing you to focus on what truly matters. You no longer waste time and effort on trivial conversations or arguments. Instead, you save your energy for the moments that require your full attention and thought. Through silence, you also gain clarity. When the noise of unnecessary words is stripped away, you are left with a clearer sense of what is important. Silence allows your mind to settle, revealing insights that may have been obscured by the constant chatter of daily life. This clarity helps you make better decisions, as you are no longer distracted by the opinions and noise of others. As you embrace silence, you also develop a deeper sense of presence. When you are not focused on speaking, you are free to fully engage with the present moment. This presence brings a sense of peace and fulfillment, as you are no longer caught up in the need to contribute or control the conversation. You are simply there, fully aware and fully engaged. This practice also fosters mindfulness. Silence forces you to be more intentional with your words, helping you to stay present with your thoughts and actions. You become more mindful of the impact your words can have on others and on yourself. This mindfulness brings a sense of responsibility to your speech, ensuring that when you do speak, it is with purpose and care. Silence also helps you develop emotional resilience. When you are not constantly reacting to every situation with words, you give yourself the space to process your emotions more fully. This processing allows you to respond with greater wisdom and composure, rather than being swept up in the moment. Silence becomes a tool for emotional regulation, helping you maintain your inner peace even in challenging situations. Through this practice, you also become more discerning about the conversations you engage in. Not every discussion is worth your time or energy. By choosing silence, you avoid getting drawn into arguments or gossip that do not serve your growth or well-being. You become more selective about where you invest your words, ensuring that your speech aligns with your values and purpose. The discipline of silence also deepens your understanding of the world around you. When you are not focused on speaking, you are free to observe and reflect. This observation allows you to see things from new perspectives, gaining insights that may have been missed in the rush to speak. Silence becomes a tool for learning, as you open yourself to the wisdom that comes from quiet reflection. Silence also strengthens your ability to handle criticism. When faced with negative feedback, the instinct is often to defend yourself or explain your actions. But by choosing silence, you allow yourself the time to reflect on the criticism without reacting defensively. This pause allows you to consider whether the feedback is valid and how you might use it for growth, rather than responding with immediate justification. Through silence, you also cultivate a greater sense of peace. When you are not constantly speaking, you are free from the pressure to perform or impress. You no longer feel the need to fill the silence with words, allowing you to rest in the quietness of the moment. This peace brings a deeper sense of contentment as you let go of the need to constantly engage in conversation or prove your worth through words. The practice of silence also enhances your focus. When you are not distracted by the need to speak, you are able to concentrate more fully on the task at hand. This focus allows you to be more productive and intentional in your actions, as your mind is not cluttered with unnecessary thoughts or conversations. Through this practice, you also develop a greater sense of discipline. Silence requires restraint, especially in a world that values constant communication. But by choosing silence, you strengthen your ability to control your impulses and make more thoughtful choices. This discipline extends beyond speech, helping you to make more intentional decisions in all areas of your life. As you embrace silence, you also gain a deeper appreciation for the power of words. When words are used sparingly and with intention, they carry more weight. You begin to understand that words are not just sounds, they are tools that can shape your reality and influence those around you. This understanding helps you use your words more wisely, ensuring that they have a positive impact. Silence also fosters self-confidence. When you are not constantly seeking to fill the void with words, you begin to trust in the power of your presence. You no longer feel the need to prove yourself through speech, as you are confident in the value of your silence. This confidence allows you to engage with the world from a place of strength, knowing that your worth is not tied to the words you speak. Through this practice, you also develop a deeper connection to your inner wisdom. When you are not distracted by the noise of conversation, you are able to listen more closely to your own intuition. This connection to your inner voice helps you make decisions that are aligned with your true self, rather than being influenced by external pressures. Mastering the art of silence allows you to live with greater clarity, focus, and peace. You no longer feel the need to engage in every conversation or fill every moment with words. Instead, you speak with intention, knowing that your words have power. This mastery of silence brings a sense of freedom, as you are no longer bound by the need to constantly communicate. In this quiet space, you find wisdom, strength, and a deeper connection to yourself and the world around you. As you learn to master the power of silence, embracing the quiet wisdom that comes from thoughtful restraint, a deeper truth begins to reveal itself. Silence teaches you that not everything needs to be controlled or explained, and in this quiet acceptance, you start to recognize a larger pattern. Life, with all its complexities and unpredictability, is not random. Stoicism introduces the concept of pneuma, or the universal reason, which invites you to trust that everything happens for a purpose. This perspective allows you to release the need for constant control and embrace the idea that every event is woven into a cosmic order far beyond your individual understanding. Accepting the idea of universal reason shifts your relationship with life's challenges. When things go wrong, the instinct is often to resist, to question, or to feel that life is unfair. But when you begin to see that even hardship serves a purpose, you move through difficulties with a sense of grace. You no longer feel as though the universe is working against you. Instead, you come to understand that each challenge is part of a larger design, one that contributes to your growth and development, even if you can't see it clearly in the moment. This shift in perspective brings a profound sense of peace. Life's unpredictability often creates anxiety, as you struggle to make sense of events that seem beyond your control. But when you accept that everything happens according to a greater logic, you are no longer burdened by the need to constantly find answers. You trust that, whether you understand it or not, each moment is exactly as it should be. This trust frees you from the weight of worry and allows you to focus on what is within your power, your response to the circumstances at hand. By accepting the interconnectedness of all events, you also develop a deeper sense of humility. The concept of pneuma reminds you that you are a part of something much larger than yourself. Your individual experiences, while significant, are but a small thread in the vast tapestry of existence. This humility helps you let go of the ego-driven need to control outcomes or force things to happen according to your plan. Instead, you become more willing to flow with life's natural rhythms, trusting that each twist and turn serves a greater purpose. This understanding also fosters resilience. When you accept that challenges are part of the universal order, you are better equipped to handle adversity. Instead of viewing setbacks as personal failures, you see them as opportunities for growth. You understand that the universe is not punishing you, but rather guiding you toward lessons that will ultimately make you stronger and wiser. This perspective gives you the strength to persevere, knowing that each difficulty is a stepping stone toward greater wisdom. As you embrace pneuma, you also develop a deeper sense of gratitude. When you trust that everything is happening for a reason, you begin to appreciate even the difficult moments in life. You stop taking the good for granted, and you learn to see the value in the challenges as well. This gratitude brings a sense of balance, allowing you to find peace in both joy and struggle, knowing that each is a necessary part of the journey. The concept of universal reason also helps you release attachment to outcomes. Many people spend their lives chasing specific goals, believing that happiness lies in achieving a certain result. But when you accept that everything unfolds according to a larger plan, you stop clinging to particular outcomes. You understand that what happens is meant to happen, even if it doesn't align with your initial expectations. This release of attachment allows you to move through life with greater ease, trusting that the universe will bring you exactly what you need at the right time. By accepting pneuma, you also become more open to the flow of life. Instead of resisting change or clinging to the past, you learn to embrace each moment as it comes. You understand that life is constantly evolving, and you allow yourself to evolve with it. This openness brings a sense of freedom, as you are no longer trapped by the fear of the unknown. You trust that the universe is guiding you, even when the path ahead is unclear. This perspective also deepens your relationships with others. When you understand that everyone is part of the same cosmic order, you develop a greater sense of empathy. You recognize that each person is navigating their own challenges and that their journey is interconnected with yours. This understanding fosters compassion as you stop viewing others' struggles as separate from your own. You become more patient and understanding, knowing that we are all part of the same universal story. Accepting pneuma also brings a sense of inner stability. When you trust in the logic of the universe, external events lose their power to shake you. You no longer react with panic or fear when things don't go as planned, because you know that everything is unfolding as it should. This inner stability allows you to remain calm in the face of uncertainty, knowing that you are supported by a greater cosmic order. Through this practice, you also develop a deeper sense of purpose. When you see your life as part of a larger design, you stop questioning whether you are on the right path. You trust that the universe is guiding you toward your highest good, even if the way forward isn't always clear. This trust allows you to live with greater intention, knowing that each step you take is part of a meaningful journey. By embracing the interconnectedness of all things, you also cultivate patience. Life doesn't always unfold on your preferred timeline, and it's easy to become frustrated when things don't happen as quickly as you'd like. But when you trust that everything is happening in its own time, you develop the patience to wait for the right moment. This patience brings a sense of peace, as you no longer feel the need to rush or force things to happen. This perspective also helps you release the need for control. Many people spend their lives trying to manage every detail, believing that they can control the outcome of every situation. But when you accept that the universe operates on its own terms, you release this need for control. You understand that some things are simply beyond your power, and you find peace in letting go. This release of control brings a sense of freedom, as you are no longer burdened by the constant pressure to make everything happen. Accepting pneuma also helps you cultivate faith in the unknown. Life is full of uncertainties, and it's natural to feel fear when faced with the unknown. But when you trust that everything is connected and purposeful, you stop fearing the future. You develop a quiet confidence that, no matter what happens, it is all part of the larger plan. This faith allows you to approach the future with curiosity and hope, rather than with fear and doubt. Through this practice, you also gain clarity on your place in the world. When you see yourself as part of the universal order, you stop feeling lost or disconnected. You understand that you are exactly where you are meant to be, and that each moment is part of your journey. This clarity helps you move through life with a sense of direction, knowing that you are always supported by the universe's greater plan. This understanding also deepens your connection to nature. The concept of pneuma reminds you that you are not separate from the natural world, but part of its intricate web. This awareness fosters a greater appreciation for the beauty and wisdom of nature, as you see it as a reflection of the same cosmic order that governs your life. You become more attuned to the rhythms of the earth, finding peace in its cycles and wisdom in its balance. Accepting the universal reason also helps you navigate loss. When faced with grief or disappointment, it's easy to feel as though life is unfair. But when you trust that even loss serves a purpose, you are able to move through it with greater resilience. You understand that each ending is part of the larger design, and that it opens the door for new beginnings. This perspective brings comfort, even in moments of pain, as you know that everything is unfolding as it should. Through this practice, you also develop a deeper sense of gratitude for life's mysteries. Not everything can be explained or understood, and that's okay. When you trust in the logic of the universe, you become more comfortable with the unknown. You learn to appreciate the beauty of life's uncertainties, knowing that they are part of the same cosmic order that guides you. This gratitude brings a sense of wonder and awe as you recognize the wisdom in life's unfolding. The concept of pneuma also helps you find meaning in every moment. When you trust that everything is connected, you stop viewing life's challenges as random or meaningless. Instead, you see each experience as part of a larger story, one that is designed to help you grow and evolve. This understanding gives even the smallest moments significance, as you recognize that they are all part of your journey. Accepting the universal reason also helps you cultivate inner peace. When you stop resisting life's flow and trust that everything is happening for a reason, you find peace in the present moment. You are no longer caught up in the need to change or fix everything. Instead, you accept life as it is, knowing that each moment is exactly as it should be. This acceptance brings a sense of calm, as you are no longer fighting against the natural order of things. Through this practice, you also develop a deeper sense of trust in yourself. When you see yourself as part of the universal order, you stop questioning your own path. You trust that you are exactly where you are meant to be, and that each step you take is guided by the wisdom of the universe. This trust allows you to move through life with confidence, knowing that you are always supported by a greater plan. Accepting the universal reason allows you to live with greater freedom, peace, and purpose. You no longer feel the need to control every outcome or resist life's challenges. Instead, you trust in the wisdom of the universe, knowing that everything is connected and purposeful. This trust frees you from the weight of worry and doubt, allowing you to move through life with grace, resilience, and a deep sense of inner peace. As you accept the universal reason and begin to trust in the interconnectedness of all events, a sense of peace and purpose naturally follows. You are no longer expending energy fighting against the flow of life, but instead learning to move with it. This understanding leads to a new question. How will you spend your time, energy, and attention? Stoic philosophy introduces the idea of euthymia, a concept that refers not to financial wealth, but to the careful management of your internal resources. It is about ensuring that your days are spent wisely, that your energy is directed toward meaningful actions, and that your emotional strength is reserved for what truly matters. In essence, euthymia is about living with intention and purpose, making sure every moment counts. Your energy, much like time, is a finite resource. Each day, you wake up with a limited supply, and how you choose to use it defines the quality of your life. Too often, people waste their energy on things that drain them, whether it's worrying about trivial matters, engaging in unnecessary conflicts, or chasing goals that don't align with their true values. When you apply Stoic economics, you become more selective about where your energy goes. You start asking, is this worth my time? Is this action aligned with my deeper goals? These questions help you make decisions that conserve your energy for what truly matters. One of the most important aspects of euthymia is learning to say no. Many people struggle with setting boundaries, often agreeing to things out of guilt, obligation, or the fear of missing out. But when you are constantly saying yes to everything, your energy becomes scattered and unfocused. Saying no is not about being selfish. It's about protecting your most valuable resource, your attention. By learning to say no to what doesn't serve your purpose, you free up energy for the things that do. This practice helps you become more intentional in your actions and more focused on your long-term goals. Another key aspect of euthymia is recognizing that not every task or commitment holds equal weight. Some actions will bring you closer to your goals, while others will simply drain your time and energy. When you begin to apply Stoic economics, you become more discerning about how you spend your days. You learn to prioritize the tasks that align with your values and bring you closer to the life you want to live. This prioritization helps you work more efficiently and with greater purpose, as you are no longer bogged down by trivial matters. Stoic economics also teaches you to be mindful of your emotional resources. Emotions, like energy, can be easily drained if not managed properly. By applying euthymia, you learn to protect your emotional well-being by avoiding unnecessary drama and conflict. You stop engaging in arguments that serve no purpose and avoid getting caught up in the emotions of others. This emotional economy helps you maintain inner peace, allowing you to reserve your emotional strength for the challenges that truly matter. Applying euthymia also helps you manage your mental resources more effectively. Your mind, like your body, needs rest and renewal. When you are constantly engaged in mental tasks, whether it's work, problem-solving, or even worrying, you drain your cognitive energy. By being mindful of where you direct your mental focus, you can ensure that your mind is used for what is truly important. This might mean taking breaks, practicing mindfulness, or simply being more selective about the thoughts and concerns you allow to occupy your mind. Incorporating Stoic economics into your life also brings a deeper sense of clarity. When you stop wasting energy on distractions, you gain a clearer understanding of what truly matters. Your priorities become more defined, and you are better able to focus on your long-term goals. This clarity helps you make decisions with confidence, knowing that your actions are aligned with your deeper purpose. It also brings a sense of fulfillment, as you are no longer caught up in the busyness of life, but are moving with intention. Euthymia also encourages you to be mindful of how you spend your time. Time is perhaps the most precious resource you have, and once it's gone, it cannot be regained. Stoic economics teaches you to value your time by ensuring that it is spent on activities that contribute to your growth, happiness, and well-being. You learn to eliminate time-wasting habits and focus on the actions that truly matter. This mindful use of time helps you live more fully, as you are no longer wasting your days on trivial pursuits, but are making the most of each moment. Through the practice of euthymia, you also become more present in your daily life. When you are not constantly distracted by unnecessary tasks or emotional drains, you are able to fully engage with the present moment. This presence brings a deeper sense of peace and contentment, as you are no longer rushing through life, but are truly experiencing it. This mindful engagement allows you to appreciate the beauty and richness of each day, even in the smallest moments. The concept of Stoic economics also extends to your relationships. Just as you are mindful of where you spend your time and energy, you also become more intentional about the people you surround yourself with. Not every relationship contributes to your growth or well-being, and euthymia teaches you to be discerning about the connections you maintain. You learn to invest your emotional energy in relationships that are mutually supportive and aligned with your values, while letting go of those that drain your resources. By practicing euthymia, you also cultivate a sense of balance in your life. When you are mindful of how you use your time, energy, and emotions, you create a more harmonious flow in your daily routines. You are no longer overwhelmed by the demands of life, but are able to manage your resources with ease. This balance brings a deeper sense of fulfillment, as you are able to pursue your goals without sacrificing your well-being. Applying Stoic economics also helps you develop greater self-discipline. It takes discipline to be mindful of how you use your resources, especially in a world that constantly demands more from you. But by practicing euthymia, you strengthen your ability to make intentional choices, even when it's difficult. This self-discipline becomes a cornerstone of your success, as it allows you to stay focused on your goals and resist the distractions that can lead you off course. Through this practice, you also learn the value of simplicity. Stoic economics teaches you to strip away the unnecessary, leaving only what is essential. This simplicity brings a sense of clarity and peace, as you are no longer burdened by the excesses of life. You learn to live with less, not just in terms of material possessions, but also in terms of emotional and mental clutter. This simplicity allows you to focus more fully on what truly matters, creating a life that is rich in meaning and purpose. By applying euthymia, you also develop a greater sense of personal responsibility. You become more aware of how your choices impact your life and the lives of those around you. This awareness helps you make decisions that are aligned with your values and that contribute to the greater good. You stop wasting time on activities that don't serve your purpose and start investing in actions that create positive change. This sense of responsibility brings a deeper sense of fulfillment, as you know that you are using your resources wisely. The practice of Stoic economics also fosters a sense of gratitude. When you are mindful of how you use your resources, you begin to appreciate them more fully. You become more aware of the value of your time, energy, and emotions, and you stop taking them for granted. This gratitude brings a deeper sense of contentment, as you are no longer constantly striving for more, but are instead appreciating what you already have. Applying euthymia also helps you develop a greater sense of focus. When you are intentional about where you direct your resources, you are better able to concentrate on the tasks that truly matter. This focus allows you to work more efficiently and effectively, as you are no longer distracted by trivial concerns. This increased focus not only helps you achieve your goals, but also brings a sense of fulfillment, as you are able to fully engage with the work that brings you meaning. By practicing euthymia, you also develop a deeper sense of self-awareness. You become more in tune with your own needs, values, and goals, and you are better able to make decisions that are aligned with your true self. This self-awareness helps you live with greater authenticity, as you are no longer driven by external pressures or distractions. Instead, you are guided by your own inner wisdom, making choices that support your well-being and personal growth. Through this practice, you also develop a greater sense of patience. Stoic economics teaches you to be mindful of how you use your resources, and this mindfulness naturally leads to greater patience. You are no longer rushing through life, trying to do everything at once. Instead, you take the time to focus on what truly matters, knowing that your efforts will pay off in the long run. This patience brings a sense of peace, as you are no longer caught up in the need for immediate results, but are content to let things unfold in their own time. The concept of euthymia also helps you develop a greater sense of resilience. When you are mindful of how you use your resources, you are better able to handle life's challenges. You no longer waste energy on trivial concerns, and you are able to conserve your strength for the moments that truly require it. This resilience allows you to navigate difficulties with grace and composure, knowing that you have the inner resources to overcome any obstacle. Applying Stoic economics also helps you cultivate a sense of peace. When you are mindful of how you use your time, energy, and emotions, you create a more balanced and harmonious life. You are no longer caught up in the busyness of life, but are able to focus on what truly matters. This peace brings a deeper sense of fulfillment, as you are no longer striving for more, but are content with the life you have created. Euthymia teaches you to live with greater intention and purpose. You become more mindful of how you use your resources, ensuring that they are directed toward actions that align with your values and contribute to your personal growth. This mindful use of your time, energy, and emotions allows you to create a life that is rich in meaning and fulfillment, as you are no longer wasting your resources on what doesn't matter, but are investing them in what truly does. As you master the principles of Stoic economics, learning to focus your energy and resources on what truly matters, a powerful realization comes into view. Much of the weakness we experience in life stems from habits that drain our mental, physical, and emotional strength. These bad habits, often unnoticed, slowly erode our ability to live with purpose and clarity. To truly change your life and embody the Stoic ideals of strength, resilience, and wisdom, it's essential to identify and eliminate these destructive patterns. Removing them opens the door to lasting growth and personal transformation as you stop undermining yourself and start aligning with the principles of Stoicism. One habit that weakens you is indulging in negative self-talk. The constant repetition of harmful beliefs like, "I'm not good enough," or "I'll never succeed," chips away at your confidence and resilience. These thoughts create a mindset of defeat before you even begin to face challenges. Stoicism teaches that the only things truly within your control are your thoughts and actions. When you allow negative self-talk to dominate, you're giving away that control. By consciously replacing these thoughts with positive, empowering ones, you regain your inner strength and are better equipped to handle adversity. Another weakening habit is the pursuit of external validation. When you constantly seek approval from others, you become dependent on external opinions to define your self-worth. This dependency leads to emotional instability because the approval of others is fleeting and unpredictable. Stoicism encourages you to focus on internal validation, living according to your own values rather than chasing praise or fearing criticism. By breaking free from this need, you cultivate a deeper sense of confidence and resilience that is not swayed by the opinions of others. Procrastination is another habit that slowly drains your power. Each time you delay taking action, you give away your agency and allow external factors to control your outcomes. Procrastination is often rooted in fear of failure, fear of discomfort, or fear of judgment. Stoicism teaches that action is the antidote to fear. By taking consistent steps toward your goals, no matter how small, you build momentum and strengthen your ability to face challenges head-on. Breaking free from procrastination allows you to reclaim control over your time and your life. Overindulgence in distractions, whether it's excessive time spent on social media, entertainment, or other superficial activities, also weakens your resolve. These distractions often serve as a way to avoid facing the more difficult aspects of life, like personal growth or confronting uncomfortable truths. Stoicism teaches the importance of focus and discipline. By reducing the time spent on distractions, you free up mental energy to engage with activities that nourish your mind, body, and soul. This shift brings clarity and strength, allowing you to invest in what truly matters. Another habit that weakens you is excessive emotional reactivity. Allowing every external event to trigger strong emotional responses leaves you at the mercy of your surroundings. Stoicism teaches emotional regulation through the understanding that you cannot control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond. By practicing mindfulness and emotional detachment, you learn to approach life's ups and downs with a sense of calm and clarity. This shift empowers you to act with intention rather than reacting impulsively to every situation. Complaining is another habit that subtly drains your strength. When you focus on what's wrong or unfair, you reinforce a mindset of powerlessness. Complaining does nothing to change the situation. It only amplifies your sense of dissatisfaction. Stoicism teaches the importance of accepting what you cannot change and focusing on what you can control. By shifting your focus away from complaints and towards solutions, you strengthen your resilience and regain a sense of agency over your life. A particularly insidious habit is blaming others for your problems. When you constantly look for external sources of your difficulties, you give away your power to change your situation. Stoicism teaches radical responsibility, recognizing that while you cannot control everything that happens to you, you are always in control of how you respond. By taking ownership of your circumstances, you empower yourself to make meaningful changes and move forward with strength and clarity. Dwelling on the past is another habit that weakens your ability to live fully in the present. Ruminating on past mistakes, regrets, or missed opportunities keeps you trapped in a cycle of negative emotions and prevents you from focusing on the here and now. Stoicism teaches the importance of living in the present, recognizing that the past is beyond your control. By letting go of the past and focusing on what you can do in the moment, you free yourself from the emotional baggage that weighs you down and weakens your resolve. Self-pity is another bad habit that erodes your strength. When you indulge in feelings of helplessness or victimhood, you reinforce the belief that you are powerless to change your circumstances. This mindset not only weakens your willpower, but also prevents you from taking meaningful action to improve your situation. Stoicism teaches that adversity is not something to be feared, but something to be embraced as an opportunity for growth. By reframing challenges as lessons rather than setbacks, you cultivate resilience and inner strength. Perfectionism is a habit that can also weaken you, as it sets unrealistic standards that are impossible to meet. When you constantly strive for perfection, you become paralyzed by the fear of making mistakes or falling short of expectations. This leads to inaction and self-doubt. Stoicism teaches the importance of progress over perfection. By embracing the idea that growth comes through consistent effort, not flawless execution, you free yourself from the pressure to be perfect and instead focus on steady improvement. Another habit that weakens you is living in fear of change. Change is inevitable, but many resist it out of fear of the unknown. This resistance to change creates stagnation and limits your potential for growth. Stoicism teaches that change is a natural part of life and should be embraced rather than feared. By accepting change as a constant and learning to adapt to it, you build the flexibility and strength needed to navigate life's uncertainties with confidence. Jealousy is another harmful habit that weakens your emotional well-being. When you compare yourself to others and envy their success, you diminish your own sense of self-worth. Jealousy fosters a mindset of lack, where you focus on what you don't have rather than appreciating what you do. Stoicism teaches the value of contentment and gratitude. By focusing on your own journey and appreciating your unique strengths and circumstances, you free yourself from the emotional drain of envy and cultivate a mindset of abundance. Living in constant worry is another habit that weakens your mental resilience. Worrying about the future or about things beyond your control creates unnecessary stress and anxiety. Stoicism encourages you to focus on what is within your control and to let go of unnecessary concerns. By practicing acceptance and living in the present moment, you free yourself from the mental strain of constant worry and build a stronger, more resilient mindset. People-pleasing is another habit that weakens your sense of self. When you prioritize the needs and opinions of others over your own, you lose touch with your values and desires. This constant pursuit of approval drains your emotional energy and leaves you feeling disconnected from your true self. Stoicism teaches the importance of living according to your own principles rather than seeking validation from others. By aligning your actions with your values, you strengthen your sense of self and live with greater authenticity. Another habit that weakens you is holding grudges. When you hold on to anger and resentment, you allow those negative emotions to take up valuable mental and emotional space. This not only drains your energy, but also prevents you from moving forward with your life. Stoicism teaches the importance of forgiveness and letting go of past wrongs. By releasing grudges, you free yourself from the emotional weight of bitterness and create space for healing and growth. Avoiding discomfort is another habit that weakens your ability to grow. When you consistently choose comfort over challenge, you limit your potential for personal development. Stoicism teaches that discomfort is a necessary part of growth and should be embraced rather than avoided. By facing challenges head-on and stepping outside of your comfort zone, you build resilience and strengthen your ability to handle adversity. Living without purpose weakens your sense of direction and fulfillment. When you drift through life without clear goals or values, you feel unanchored and uncertain. Stoicism teaches the importance of living with intention and purpose. By identifying your core values and aligning your actions with them, you create a sense of meaning and direction that strengthens your resolve and motivates you to take purposeful action. Another habit that weakens you is indecision. Constantly second-guessing yourself and avoiding making choices leads to stagnation and frustration. Stoicism teaches the importance of decisiveness and action. By making thoughtful decisions and committing to them, you free yourself from the paralysis of indecision and build confidence in your ability to navigate life's challenges. Indulging in gossip weakens your character and relationships. When you engage in gossip, you not only waste valuable energy, but also contribute to a toxic environment that harms others. Stoicism teaches the importance of speaking with integrity and focusing on meaningful conversations. By choosing to speak with purpose and avoiding gossip, you strengthen your character and contribute positively to the world around you. Fear of failure is another habit that weakens your ability to take risks and pursue your goals. When you allow the fear of failure to dictate your actions, you limit your potential and prevent yourself from achieving your full capabilities. Stoicism teaches that failure is a natural part of life and should be embraced as a learning opportunity. By reframing failure as a stepping stone to growth, you build the courage to take risks and pursue your dreams with confidence. Living without reflection weakens your ability to learn from your experiences. When you move through life without taking the time to reflect on your actions and choices, you miss valuable opportunities for growth and self-improvement. Stoicism teaches the importance of self-reflection as a tool for personal development. By regularly reflecting on your thoughts, actions, and behaviors, you gain insight into your strengths and weaknesses, allowing you to make meaningful changes and live with greater intention. As you strip away the habits that weaken your mind, body, and soul, you start to see with greater clarity those around you who may be doing the same, whether intentionally or not. Relationships can shape your life for better or worse, and Stoicism teaches the importance of surrounding yourself with those who uplift you rather than drag you down. Some people, no matter how well they disguise their intentions, can erode your strength and influence your life negatively. Learning to identify these individuals allows you to protect your energy and stay focused on your personal growth. In Stoic thought, wisdom comes from knowing not only who to trust, but also who not to trust. The first type of person you should not trust or respect is the flatterer. They shower you with compliments, not out of genuine care, but to manipulate and gain something from you. Flattery, while tempting to enjoy, clouds judgment. Stoicism values honesty and authenticity. If someone's words are consistently aimed at pleasing you rather than guiding you toward growth, their motivations should be questioned. Surrounding yourself with those who speak truth, even when it's uncomfortable, is essential for your development. Next are the manipulators, those who twist situations and words to serve their own agenda. Manipulation is subtle, often hiding behind seemingly good intentions. These people try to control your decisions, making you act in ways that benefit them. Stoicism teaches you to remain in control of your own mind and decisions. When someone's actions are driven by hidden motives, trust becomes impossible. It's vital to distance yourself from these individuals and reinforce your boundaries to protect your autonomy. The consistently negative individual is another person to be wary of. Constant negativity can poison your mindset, drawing you into a vortex of complaints and pessimism. Stoicism teaches resilience and the power of focusing on what you can control. But someone who consistently sees the worst in every situation can wear down even the strongest mind. Their endless complaints and unwillingness to seek solutions create a toxic environment. You should not trust or invest time in those who only bring despair into your life without ever seeking positive change. Another person not to trust is the one who never accepts responsibility for their actions. These individuals deflect blame onto others, never acknowledging their own mistakes. Stoicism is about accountability, knowing that you control your reactions and choices. When someone constantly avoids responsibility, they show a lack of integrity. Trust is built on honesty, and if a person cannot be honest with themselves, how can they be trusted with your well-being? Then there are the gossipers. They spread rumors and share private information about others, often under the guise of friendship or concern. If someone is willing to speak ill of others behind their backs, they are likely to do the same to you. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of using words wisely and with purpose. Gossip dilutes trust and creates an atmosphere of distrust and insecurity. Keeping your distance from those who indulge in spreading rumors protects your integrity and mental clarity. Another person to be wary of is the one who lacks consistency. They say one thing and do another, their actions never aligning with their words. Stoicism values consistency in thought and action as a key to living with integrity. If someone's behavior is constantly unpredictable, it becomes impossible to build a foundation of trust with them. Surrounding yourself with people whose words and actions are aligned creates a sense of stability and trust in your relationships. The self-absorbed individual also makes this list. Their focus is entirely on themselves, with little regard for the needs, feelings, or experiences of others. They drain your energy by constantly demanding attention and never reciprocating. Stoicism teaches that relationships should be built on mutual respect and shared values. If someone only ever thinks of themselves, they are incapable of contributing to a balanced and meaningful connection. These people, while possibly charming, ultimately leave you feeling depleted and undervalued. One of the most dangerous types of people to distrust is the one who lacks emotional control. These individuals are driven by their emotions, reacting impulsively and often irrationally. Stoicism teaches emotional regulation as one of the most important skills for a balanced life. When someone is ruled by their emotions, they are unpredictable and potentially harmful. Trusting someone who cannot manage their emotions exposes you to their emotional volatility, which can cause chaos and instability in your life. Finally, those who are perpetually dishonest are individuals you should not trust or respect. Dishonesty erodes the foundation of any relationship, whether personal or professional. Stoicism values truth and integrity above all else. If someone cannot be honest, they cannot be trusted to have your best interests at heart. Lies, even small ones, accumulate and create a relationship built on deception. A dishonest person is someone who puts their own interests above the truth, making it impossible to trust them with any level of intimacy or cooperation. Learning to identify and distance yourself from these types of individuals is not about judgment or harshness. It's about protecting your peace, focus, and well-being. Stoicism encourages building a life based on wisdom and strong character. These negative influences, whether through manipulation, dishonesty, or emotional volatility, erode that foundation. By recognizing these traits in others, you create a space where your energy is directed toward growth and positivity. When you surround yourself with people who align with your values, you build stronger, more fulfilling relationships. Trust becomes the backbone of these connections, and mutual respect allows for deeper understanding and cooperation. Each interaction becomes an opportunity for growth, rather than a drain on your energy. Those who seek to manipulate or control only serve to undermine your journey, while those who support and challenge you in a healthy way propel you forward. These 9 types of individuals are not merely disruptive, they prevent you from living a life of purpose. By learning to identify and avoid these people, you free yourself from unnecessary drama and complications. Your mental clarity improves, your emotional energy is conserved, and your focus sharpens. This allows you to invest your time and attention in relationships that support your goals and values. In practicing Stoicism, it's essential to cultivate a community of people who challenge you to grow while offering support. Trust and respect are earned through consistency, honesty, and shared principles. Those who lack these traits only serve to distract and weaken your efforts towards self-improvement. Protecting yourself from negative influences is as important as cultivating positive ones. In the end, life is too short to spend time with those who do not align with your values or who drain your energy. By becoming more discerning about who you trust, you preserve your mental and emotional well-being, allowing yourself to focus on what truly matters. Surround yourself with people who reflect the principles of Stoicism: wisdom, integrity, and emotional balance. These are the relationships that will help you grow and thrive. Stoicism doesn't teach you to isolate yourself from others, but to carefully choose those who are worth your time and trust. By aligning yourself with those who share your commitment to growth and honesty, you create a network of support that strengthens your journey toward a more resilient and fulfilled life. In every relationship, ask yourself whether the person uplifts you or brings unnecessary hardship. Are they consistent in their actions? Do they encourage growth or seek to manipulate? These questions help you build a circle of trust that nurtures your personal development. Life is a series of choices, and the people you choose to trust play a significant role in shaping your path. By being mindful of the company you keep, you protect your energy and ensure that you're surrounded by those who reflect your highest values. This careful selection of relationships empowers you to move through life with strength, clarity, and a sense of purpose that no one can undermine. As you distance yourself from those who erode trust and drain your energy, you begin to see relationships and interactions with greater clarity. It's not enough to merely recognize toxic influences. Success in life often requires the ability to navigate complex human dynamics. Stoicism teaches the importance of controlling your emotions and responses, but it also provides insight into the art of persuasion. Understanding the psychological principles behind persuasion can empower you to lead conversations, influence decisions, and guide outcomes, all while staying grounded in your values. Mastering these techniques is not about manipulation, but about wielding influence with wisdom and integrity. One of the key elements of persuasion is understanding the role of reciprocity. People feel a natural obligation to return favors or kindness, and this principle can be applied strategically in your interactions. By offering something of value first, whether it's information, assistance, or even a thoughtful gesture, you create a sense of indebtedness that encourages others to respond in kind. This is not about manipulation, but about building goodwill and trust, which opens doors for mutual influence. Timing is another powerful factor in persuasion. The Stoics often spoke of the importance of timing in both action and speech. Presenting your ideas at the right moment, when the other person is open and receptive, can make all the difference. Rushing in with a request or an argument before the other person is ready can create resistance. By learning to read the emotional and psychological state of the person you are engaging with, you increase your chances of successfully influencing their decisions. Understanding how to frame your message is equally important. The way information is presented can either increase its appeal or create resistance. For example, focusing on the benefits someone will gain from agreeing with your proposal rather than on what they might lose if they don't comply is often more effective. This positive framing encourages the other person to associate your idea with reward and growth rather than fear or pressure. Another trick in the art of persuasion is tapping into the power of social proof. People are more likely to be persuaded when they see that others have already adopted the behavior or belief you're promoting. Humans have a natural tendency to follow the crowd, particularly in uncertain situations. Highlighting the popularity or widespread acceptance of your idea can subtly encourage others to follow suit, making them more inclined to agree with your position. Consistency is also a powerful tool in persuasion. People like to appear consistent with their past actions and beliefs. If you can show someone that agreeing with your request aligns with something they've already done or expressed, they are more likely to comply. This technique works because it allows the other person to feel that they are maintaining their integrity while still aligning with your desired outcome. A deep understanding of emotional appeal can also enhance your persuasive abilities. While logic and reason are important, people are often more motivated by emotions. By addressing the emotional needs, desires, or fears of the person you are engaging with, you can connect with them on a deeper level, making your message more compelling. This is not about manipulation, but about recognizing the emotional context in which decisions are made and using it to build rapport and influence. Another principle that strengthens persuasion is authority. People are more likely to be influenced by those they perceive as knowledgeable or authoritative in a particular field. Establishing yourself as a credible source, whether through expertise, experience, or confidence, can significantly increase your persuasive power. Stoicism teaches the importance of cultivating wisdom and knowledge, and when others recognize your competence, they are more likely to trust your judgment and follow your guidance. Scarcity is another psychological principle that can be leveraged to increase persuasion. When something is perceived as rare or in limited supply, its value increases. By framing your offer or suggestion as a unique opportunity that may not be available for long, you create a sense of urgency that encourages people to act quickly. This approach taps into the natural human fear of missing out, prompting quicker and more decisive action. The way you use language also plays a critical role in persuasion. The Stoics valued clarity and precision in speech, and this principle can be applied to influence as well. Using concise, clear, and specific language makes your message more persuasive because it leaves little room for misunderstanding or misinterpretation. Ambiguity can create doubt, but a well-articulated argument conveys confidence and direction, which others are more likely to follow. Another effective persuasion technique is the principle of commitment. Once people commit to something, even in a small way, they are more likely to follow through with larger commitments. By getting someone to agree to a minor request first, you increase the chances that they will later agree to a bigger request. This gradual build-up of agreement creates a sense of momentum, making it easier to guide them toward your desired outcome. The power of storytelling is another tool that can enhance persuasion. Humans are wired to respond to stories as they create an emotional connection and make complex ideas easier to understand. By framing your message within a compelling narrative, you engage both the rational and emotional aspects of the person you are persuading. This approach makes your message more memorable and impactful, increasing the likelihood that it will resonate and lead to the desired action. Nonverbal communication is another key aspect of persuasion. body language, tone of voice, and eye contact all contribute to the effectiveness of your message. Stoicism teaches mastery over your physical presence and emotional state, and applying this in your interactions helps convey confidence and sincerity. When your non-verbal cues align with your words, people are more likely to trust and be persuaded by what you're saying. Another psychological trick is appealing to the need for autonomy. People don't like to feel pressured or controlled, so giving them a sense of choice can actually increase compliance. By framing your request in a way that empowers the other person to make their own decision, you reduce resistance and make them feel more in control. This approach respects their autonomy while subtly guiding them toward your desired outcome. Another important factor in persuasion is building rapport. People are more likely to be influenced by those they like and feel connected to. By finding common ground, showing empathy, and actively listening, you create a sense of trust and mutual respect. This connection lays the groundwork for more effective persuasion because people are more inclined to agree with someone they feel a bond with. Appealing to someone's sense of identity can also be a powerful persuasive technique. People like to act in ways that are consistent with their self-image. By framing your request as something that aligns with their values or how they see themselves, you make it more difficult for them to refuse. This technique allows them to feel that by agreeing with you, they are reinforcing their own identity and values, which makes them more likely to comply. Another principle of persuasion is the concept of contrast. By presenting two options, one of which is clearly more desirable than the other, you can guide people toward the choice you want them to make. This technique works by framing the preferred option as a better alternative, making it easier for the person to make a decision. The contrast effect simplifies the decision-making process and subtly nudges the person toward the outcome you desire. Using repetition can also enhance persuasion. When people hear the same message multiple times, it becomes more familiar and therefore more acceptable. Repetition helps reinforce key points and increases the likelihood that your message will stick in the other person's mind. However, it's important to use repetition subtly and avoid coming across as overly aggressive or insistent. Another technique is acknowledging objections before they arise. By addressing potential concerns or resistance points early on, you demonstrate that you understand the other person's perspective and have already considered their objections. This approach builds trust and reduces the likelihood of pushback, as the person feels that their concerns are being taken seriously. Finally, one of the most powerful tools in persuasion is patience. Rushing or pressuring someone into making a decision can create resistance and distrust. By taking your time and allowing the other person to process the information at their own pace, you build a stronger foundation for long-term influence. Patience demonstrates confidence in your position and respect for the other person's decision-making process, making them more likely to agree with you in the end. Mastering the art of persuasion through these psychological principles allows you to navigate relationships and interactions with skill and integrity. It's not about manipulation, but about understanding how to communicate effectively and guide others toward outcomes that benefit everyone involved. With Stoicism as your guide, you can influence others while maintaining your own values and sense of purpose, using persuasion as a tool for positive change. As you develop the skills of persuasion, learning to navigate the complexities of human interaction with wisdom and subtlety, another challenge arises: finding balance in kindness. While being kind is an essential virtue, there is a point where excessive kindness can start to work against you. Stoicism teaches that virtue is about balance, and too much of anything, even kindness, can lead to unintended consequences. When kindness crosses the line into self-sacrifice or people-pleasing, it can harm both you and your relationships. To navigate life wisely, it's important to understand the dangers of being overly kind and how to protect yourself from the pitfalls of excessive generosity. One of the main issues with too much kindness is that it can lead to self-neglect. When you're constantly putting others first, it's easy to lose sight of your own needs and well-being. You become so focused on pleasing others that you sacrifice your own happiness and peace of mind. Stoicism teaches the importance of self-care and balance in all things. Kindness should never come at the cost of your own health or mental clarity. If you're always giving but never receiving, you risk becoming emotionally drained and disconnected from your own needs. Another danger of excessive kindness is that it can make you a target for manipulation. People quickly learn to take advantage of someone who always says yes or who never sets boundaries. While kindness is a noble trait, it should never be confused with being a pushover. Stoicism encourages setting clear boundaries to protect your inner peace and integrity. If you find yourself constantly doing things out of obligation or guilt rather than genuine desire, it's a sign that your kindness is being exploited. Learning to say no is essential to maintaining your strength and ensuring that your kindness remains an act of choice, not obligation. Excessive kindness can also lead to resentment, both toward others and yourself. When you're constantly giving without receiving, it's natural to start feeling unappreciated or taken for granted. Over time, this can build up into bitterness, not only toward the people around you, but also toward yourself for allowing it to happen. Stoicism teaches the importance of emotional regulation, and part of that is recognizing when your kindness is becoming a source of internal conflict. By setting limits on how much you give, you protect yourself from falling into the trap of resentment and ensure that your kindness remains a positive force in your life. Another problem with too much kindness is that it can lead to a lack of authenticity in your relationships. When you're always focused on being agreeable or accommodating, you may start to hide your true thoughts and feelings to avoid conflict or disappointment. This creates a barrier between you and the people around you, as they are never truly interacting with the real you. Stoicism teaches the value of honesty and authenticity in all interactions. True kindness does not require you to suppress your own needs or opinions. By being honest about your boundaries and desires, you create stronger, more authentic connections with others. Moreover, excessive kindness can sometimes prevent others from growing and taking responsibility for their own actions. When you're always there to solve problems or to take on others' burdens, you may unintentionally enable their dependence on you. Stoicism teaches that each person is responsible for their own life and choices. By constantly stepping in to help, you may be preventing others from learning important lessons or developing their own strength and resilience. True kindness sometimes means allowing others to face their challenges and supporting them in a way that empowers rather than rescues. Another aspect of this issue is that when you're too kind, people may begin to expect your generosity rather than appreciate it. Acts of kindness that were once seen as thoughtful gestures can quickly become obligations in the eyes of others. When kindness is taken for granted, it loses its impact and meaning. Stoicism teaches the importance of intentional action. Every act should be done with purpose and thought. If your kindness is no longer appreciated or valued, it may be time to re-evaluate the dynamics of those relationships and adjust your behavior accordingly. Excessive kindness can also rob you of your time and focus. When you're constantly attending to the needs of others, you may find it difficult to prioritize your own goals and ambitions. Stoicism values the economy of time and energy, and part of living wisely is knowing how to allocate your resources effectively. If you're always giving to others at the expense of your own dreams and responsibilities, you risk losing sight of your own path. Learning to balance kindness with personal ambition ensures that you can support others without sacrificing your own journey. When kindness is given too freely and without discernment, it can sometimes create a cycle of dependency. Instead of empowering others to solve their own problems, your constant assistance can make them reliant on you for support. Stoicism teaches that true kindness is about empowering others, not creating dependency. By offering help in a way that encourages growth and self-reliance, you ensure that your kindness is constructive and meaningful, rather than enabling or weakening those you aim to assist. There is also a risk that excessive kindness can make you lose your sense of self. When you're always focused on meeting the needs of others, you may start to define yourself solely through your acts of service. While helping others is a noble pursuit, it should not be the entirety of your identity. Stoicism teaches the importance of self-knowledge and self-sufficiency. You are more than just what you do for others. By maintaining a strong sense of self, you can ensure that your kindness is rooted in personal strength and not a need for validation. Over time, being overly kind can create a power imbalance in relationships. When one person is always giving and the other is always receiving, the relationship can become lopsided, with one person holding more control. This imbalance can lead to feelings of inequality and frustration, which erode the foundation of trust and respect in the relationship. Stoicism values balance in all aspects of life, including relationships. Ensuring that your kindness is reciprocated helps maintain equality and respect, preventing one-sided dynamics that can lead to conflict and dissatisfaction. Excessive kindness can also lead to burnout. Constantly giving without taking time to recharge or care for yourself eventually depletes your physical and emotional resources. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of maintaining your own well-being in order to be effective in helping others. If you are exhausted and drained, your ability to be kind in a meaningful way diminishes. Taking time for self-care and setting limits on how much you give allows you to maintain your strength and continue being a positive force in the lives of others. Another challenge with too much kindness is that it can blur the lines between kindness and obligation. When you feel compelled to help or to say yes to every request, kindness stops being a voluntary act and starts feeling like a duty. Stoicism teaches that true virtue lies in acting from choice, not compulsion. If your kindness is motivated by guilt or fear of disappointing others, it loses its value. By reasserting control over when and how you give, you ensure that your kindness remains a meaningful expression of your values, not a forced responsibility. Too much kindness can also prevent you from addressing issues directly. When you're focused on maintaining harmony and avoiding conflict, you may shy away from difficult conversations or avoid setting necessary boundaries. This avoidance can lead to unresolved problems that eventually grow into larger conflicts. Stoicism teaches the importance of courage and honesty in addressing challenges head-on. By balancing kindness with directness, you can resolve issues before they escalate and maintain healthier, more open relationships. Another issue is that excessive kindness can foster dependency rather than strength. By always stepping in to fix problems or offer help, you may unintentionally prevent others from developing their own resilience and problem-solving skills. Stoicism teaches that true strength comes from within and that each person is responsible for their own growth. By knowing when to step back and allow others to face their challenges, you help them build their own strength rather than becoming reliant on yours. Kindness without boundaries can also lead to feelings of overwhelm. When you're constantly saying yes to others' needs, you may find yourself overcommitted and stretched too thin. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of maintaining control over your time and energy. Learning to set boundaries around your kindness ensures that you are able to give without overextending yourself, allowing you to maintain balance and avoid burnout. Moreover, excessive kindness can sometimes mask underlying feelings of insecurity or a desire for approval. When you give too much, it may be a way of seeking validation or acceptance from others. Stoicism teaches the value of self-approval and the importance of not relying on external validation for your sense of worth. By cultivating self-confidence and learning to appreciate your own value, you free yourself from the need to overgive in order to feel accepted or valued by others. Excessive kindness can also hinder personal growth. When you're always focused on helping others, you may miss opportunities for your own development and learning. Stoicism teaches that personal growth is an essential part of living a virtuous life. While helping others is important, it should not come at the expense of your own progress. By balancing kindness with your own personal growth, you ensure that you continue to evolve and improve, even as you support those around you. Being overly kind can also make it difficult for others to respect your boundaries. When you're always available to help, people may begin to see your time and energy as unlimited resources. This lack of respect for your boundaries can lead to feelings of frustration and burnout. Stoicism teaches the importance of maintaining clear boundaries and ensuring that others respect your limits. By asserting your boundaries, you teach others to value your time and energy, preserving your well-being. Excessive kindness can also diminish your assertiveness. When you're always focused on keeping the peace or avoiding conflict, you may struggle to assert your own needs and desires. Stoicism values assertiveness as an essential part of living in accordance with your values. Learning to speak up for yourself and assert your boundaries ensures that your kindness is balanced with self-respect and that your needs are not overlooked in the process. Too much kindness can lead to emotional exhaustion. Constantly giving without taking time to recharge can leave you feeling drained and disconnected from your own emotions. Stoicism teaches the importance of maintaining emotional balance and protecting your mental well-being. By setting limits on your kindness and ensuring that you take time for yourself, you protect your emotional health and maintain the strength to continue being kind in a meaningful and sustainable way. As you reflect on the dangers of excessive kindness and the importance of balancing your generosity, another valuable tool for navigating life's challenges comes into focus: understanding the power of reverse psychology and how rejection can be used to your advantage. Stoicism teaches resilience, and part of that resilience is learning to use obstacles and setbacks as stepping stones towards success. Rejection, often seen as a failure, holds hidden potential. By shifting your perspective, you can turn rejection into an opportunity for growth, influence, and self-mastery. Mastering the art of reverse psychology allows you to leverage even the most challenging situations to your benefit, creating opportunities where others might see defeat. The first step in using rejection to your favor is understanding that it's not the end of the road, but a signal to reassess your approach. When faced with rejection, instead of reacting emotionally or withdrawing, Stoicism encourages you to pause and evaluate the situation objectively. Rejection often provides valuable feedback. It highlights areas for improvement or reveals where your efforts might be better focused. By viewing rejection as a teacher, you gain insight into how to adjust your strategy and move forward with greater clarity and purpose. Another way to use rejection to your advantage is by creating a sense of scarcity. When people believe that something is difficult to attain or that you are no longer available, they often desire it more. This principle of reverse psychology can be applied in personal and professional relationships. By gracefully accepting rejection and stepping back, you can create a sense of intrigue and curiosity, making others reconsider their decision. Rather than pushing harder, pulling away can sometimes be the most powerful move, prompting the other party to chase what they initially dismissed. Stoicism also teaches the importance of control over your emotions, and this becomes particularly relevant when dealing with rejection. Instead of allowing rejection to undermine your confidence, you can use it to reinforce your self-discipline. By responding calmly and without bitterness, you demonstrate emotional resilience and strength. This approach not only helps you maintain your composure, but also shifts the power dynamic. When others see that rejection doesn't shake you, they begin to respect your stability and inner strength, making you a more attractive prospect in future negotiations or interactions. Another valuable lesson in using rejection to your favor is learning to frame it as a challenge rather than a setback. Rejection often ignites a desire to prove oneself, and Stoicism encourages you to channel that energy productively. Instead of dwelling on the rejection, redirect your focus toward improving your skills, refining your approach, or exploring new opportunities. This mindset turns rejection into a motivator, pushing you to strive for greater achievements and showing those who doubted you that you are capable of surpassing their expectations. Reverse psychology can also be applied in situations where others are resistant to your ideas or suggestions. Instead of trying to convince them directly, presenting the opposite of what you want can sometimes lead them to the conclusion you were aiming for in the first place. People often resist being told what to do, but when they feel they have made the decision on their own terms, they are more likely to comply. This subtle technique aligns with Stoicism's emphasis on indirect influence and understanding human nature, allowing you to guide situations toward your desired outcome without force or confrontation. Rejection also offers an opportunity for personal growth by teaching you the value of persistence. Stoicism teaches that true strength lies in perseverance, and rejection is simply a test of your resilience. When one door closes, another often opens, but only if you keep moving forward. By refusing to be discouraged by rejection and continuing to pursue your goals with determination, you build the kind of inner toughness that can't be shaken by temporary setbacks. This lesson in persistence is invaluable, as it reminds you that success often comes to those who are willing to endure rejection and keep striving. Another lesson in using rejection to your favor is the idea of creating alternatives. When one path is blocked, Stoicism encourages you to explore new avenues. Rejection can sometimes be a blessing in disguise, redirecting you toward opportunities you hadn't previously considered. By maintaining an open mind and being willing to pivot when necessary, you can turn what initially seems like a setback into a new and better direction for your efforts. This adaptability is a key Stoic trait, as it allows you to flow with life's changes rather than becoming rigid and discouraged. Stoicism also teaches the importance of controlling your reactions to external events, including rejection. When you respond to rejection with grace and composure, you maintain your power in the situation. Emotional outbursts or displays of frustration only serve to weaken your position and give others control over your emotional state. By practicing calmness in the face of rejection, you send a message that your worth and confidence are not dependent on others' approval. This inner stability not only protects your well-being, but also enhances your influence in future interactions. Reverse psychology can also be employed in negotiations or discussions where you want to guide the outcome without directly stating your preference. By presenting an option that seems less appealing or pushing for something that the other person is resistant to, you can encourage them to offer a more favorable solution on their own. This approach plays on the natural tendency for people to resist being controlled, leading them to choose the outcome you desired in the first place. It's a subtle yet powerful way to turn rejection or resistance into cooperation. Another important aspect of using rejection to your advantage is developing a thicker skin. Stoicism teaches that external events, including the opinions of others, should not dictate your internal peace. When you are no longer afraid of rejection, you become bolder in pursuing your goals. The fear of rejection often holds people back from taking risks or asking for what they truly want. By embracing the possibility of rejection as a natural part of life, you free yourself from that fear and open up new possibilities for success. Rejection can also be used as a tool for self-reflection. Instead of seeing it as a failure, Stoicism encourages you to use it as an opportunity to examine your actions and motivations. What led to the rejection? Was it something within your control, or was it a matter of circumstances? By analyzing rejection through a Stoic lens, you gain valuable insights that help you grow and improve. This reflection turns rejection into a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block, giving you the wisdom to approach future situations with greater knowledge and preparation. Another way to turn rejection to your favor is by using it as a means of testing your resilience. Stoicism teaches that true strength is revealed not in times of comfort, but in moments of challenge. Each rejection you face is an opportunity to test and strengthen your inner resolve. By seeing rejection as a chance to prove your resilience, you transform it from a source of frustration into a personal challenge. This mindset not only helps you endure rejection, but also builds the kind of mental toughness that makes future challenges easier to overcome. In social situations, reverse psychology can be applied by subtly suggesting the opposite of what you want, prompting others to choose the option you actually prefer. This technique plays on the human desire for autonomy and independence, making people more likely to make the decision you hoped for when they feel it's on their own terms. By understanding the psychology behind decision-making, you can influence others without appearing controlling or forceful, allowing you to guide situations more effectively. Rejection can also serve as a filter, helping you identify what is truly worth pursuing. Stoicism teaches the importance of focusing on what is within your control and letting go of what is not. When you experience rejection, it can clarify where your efforts are best directed. Sometimes, rejection is a sign that the path you were on was not the right one, and it pushes you toward a better opportunity. By trusting that rejection has its place in guiding your journey, you can approach life's challenges with a sense of curiosity and openness rather than resistance. Another benefit of rejection is that it builds humility. Stoicism values humility as a key virtue, recognizing that none of us are immune to setbacks or failures. Rejection serves as a reminder that we are all works in progress, and that there is always room for growth and improvement. By accepting rejection with humility, you allow yourself to learn from the experience rather than becoming defensive or bitter. This humility not only helps you grow, but also makes you more approachable and open to new opportunities. Reverse psychology can also be used in leadership or mentorship roles. By allowing those you lead to make decisions on their own, even if you subtly guide them in a certain direction, you empower them to take ownership of their choices. This sense of autonomy increases their commitment to the decision and helps them grow as individuals. Stoicism teaches that leadership is about guiding others toward their own potential, and reverse psychology is a tool that can help facilitate that process without imposing control. Rejection can serve as a catalyst for reinvention. Stoicism teaches that we are constantly evolving, and rejection can be a powerful force in pushing you toward personal reinvention. When one door closes, it forces you to rethink your approach, develop new skills, or explore different paths. By embracing rejection as an opportunity for transformation, you can use it as a springboard for growth, emerging stronger and more capable than before. This process of reinvention not only helps you overcome setbacks, but also propels you toward greater achievements. By understanding the lessons behind reverse psychology and rejection, you can turn what others see as obstacles into opportunities. Stoicism teaches that true power comes from within, and part of that power is the ability to influence situations and people in a way that aligns with your values. Rejection, far from being a failure, is simply another tool that, when used wisely, can help you grow, adapt, and ultimately succeed. As you navigate the complexities of human interaction, mastering reverse psychology and turning rejection to your advantage, there's another vital element to your personal evolution: changing the habits that define your daily life. Stoicism teaches that transformation is not achieved overnight, but through consistent, deliberate actions. Sometimes, however, small shifts can lead to profound changes in a surprisingly short period. By focusing on key Stoic habits, you can radically shift your mindset, behavior, and results in as little as 1 week. These practices, though simple, carry the power to lay a solid foundation for lasting change, helping you start from scratch and build a life of purpose, clarity, and resilience. One of the most powerful habits that can change your life quickly is the practice of intentional morning reflection. Stoicism teaches the importance of setting the tone for the day before it even begins. Each morning, spend time contemplating your goals, values, and potential challenges for the day. This mental preparation allows you to approach each task with clarity and purpose, ensuring that your actions align with your deeper values. In just a week, you'll notice a shift in how you face your day, no longer reacting to events, but proactively shaping your experiences with intention. Another habit that leads to immediate transformation is practicing emotional detachment from external outcomes. Stoicism emphasizes the idea that while you cannot control external events, you can always control your response. By training yourself to focus solely on what you can control, you free yourself from the emotional roller coaster of disappointment or frustration. This shift, even in the span of a few days, brings a profound sense of peace. When you stop worrying about outcomes beyond your control, you conserve energy and maintain inner balance, regardless of what unfolds. The habit of gratitude is another powerful practice that can change your perspective in a short amount of time. Each day, take a moment to acknowledge the things you are grateful for, no matter how small. Stoicism teaches that appreciation for life's gifts, rather than constant striving for more, brings true happiness. This habit redirects your focus from what's lacking to what's already present in your life, creating a mindset of abundance. Within a week, you'll notice a shift in your emotional state, feeling more content and grounded, even in the face of challenges. Another transformative habit is simplifying your life by reducing unnecessary distractions. Stoicism teaches that focus and clarity come from eliminating what does not serve your purpose. Take time to declutter not only your physical space, but also your mental environment. This means cutting down on mindless scrolling, excessive consumption of news, or involvement in unnecessary drama. By removing distractions, you create more mental space to focus on what truly matters. This habit can bring a sense of mental freedom and productivity that transforms how you approach your day. Adopting the habit of mindful speech can also create immediate changes in your relationships and interactions. Stoicism places great value on speaking with intention, avoiding idle gossip, and only contributing when your words have purpose. This practice encourages you to think before you speak, ensuring that your communication is meaningful and constructive. Over the course of just a few days, you'll notice how this habit not only improves your interactions, but also deepens your sense of self-control and respect for the power of words. Another life-changing habit is taking daily time for self-reflection at the end of each day. Stoicism teaches the importance of reviewing your actions, thoughts, and behaviors regularly to assess where you are in alignment with your values and where you've strayed. This habit of self-reflection allows you to make adjustments, learn from your experiences, and approach the next day with greater wisdom. In just 1 week, you'll start to see patterns in your behavior and choices, giving you the insight to make more conscious decisions moving forward. The habit of embracing discomfort is another crucial practice that can change your perspective quickly. Stoicism teaches that voluntary discomfort, whether it's through physical challenges, fasting, or pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, builds mental resilience. By introducing small acts of discomfort into your daily routine, you strengthen your ability to handle adversity when it arises. In just a few days, you'll notice a shift in how you approach challenges, feeling more capable and less fearful of discomfort. Developing the habit of letting go of perfectionism is also transformative. Stoicism reminds us that perfection is an illusion, and striving for it only leads to frustration. Instead, focus on progress, on taking consistent, small steps toward improvement. By shifting your mindset away from perfection and toward growth, you free yourself from the pressure of unrealistic expectations. In 1 week, you'll begin to see that embracing imperfection allows you to move forward with greater ease and confidence. Another impactful habit is practicing silence, both in thought and speech. Stoicism teaches the value of silence as a way to cultivate inner peace and avoid unnecessary conflict. Taking moments throughout the day to pause, reflect, and hold back from speaking can create a sense of calm and clarity. This practice allows you to process your emotions and thoughts before reacting, leading to more thoughtful decisions and interactions. After just a few days, you'll notice how this habit helps you maintain emotional stability and clear thinking in stressful situations. The habit of practicing mindfulness in your actions can also lead to immediate changes in how you experience daily life. Stoicism teaches that every action should be done with purpose and presence. Whether you're working, eating, or spending time with loved ones, fully engaging in the moment brings greater satisfaction and fulfillment. In a short period, this habit shifts your attention away from multitasking and distraction, helping you appreciate each moment for what it is, rather than rushing through it. Developing the habit of emotional regulation is another key practice that can change your life in a short time. Stoicism teaches that while emotions are natural, they should not control your actions. By practicing techniques such as deep breathing or pausing before reacting, you gain greater control over your emotional responses. This habit allows you to respond to challenges with calm and clarity, rather than being swept away by anger or anxiety. Within a week, you'll notice that emotional turbulence has less control over your decisions and interactions. Another life-changing habit is prioritizing your time and energy based on your values. Stoicism teaches that not all actions or obligations are of equal importance. By regularly assessing where your time and energy are going, you can cut out activities that do not align with your values or goals. This practice brings a sense of purpose and direction to your day, helping you focus on what truly matters. In a short time, you'll find that you have more energy and clarity because you're no longer wasting time on meaningless tasks. Building the habit of forgiving yourself is also essential for personal growth. Stoicism teaches that mistakes are a natural part of life and that holding on to guilt or regret only hinders progress. By learning to forgive yourself for past errors, you create space for growth and learning. This habit allows you to move forward without the weight of past failures holding you back. In just a few days, you'll feel a sense of lightness and freedom as you release the burden of self-judgment. Another transformative habit is practicing detachment from material possessions. Stoicism teaches that true happiness comes from within, not from external things. By reducing your attachment to material possessions, you free yourself from the constant desire for more. This practice leads to greater contentment and less anxiety about loss or lack. In a short time, you'll notice that you feel more at peace, no longer driven by the need to accumulate or cling to material things. The habit of accepting uncertainty is another Stoic principle that can change your life in a short time. Stoicism teaches that life is unpredictable and that trying to control every outcome only leads to frustration. By embracing the unknown and accepting that you cannot foresee or control everything, you reduce anxiety and stress. This mindset shift allows you to face uncertainty with grace and resilience, trusting that you will handle whatever comes your way. In just a few days, you'll begin to feel more at ease with life's unpredictability. Another habit that brings immediate benefits is practicing kindness and compassion, not only toward others, but also toward yourself. Stoicism teaches that kindness is a reflection of inner strength, and by practicing it regularly, you create a more harmonious and fulfilling life. In just a week, you'll notice that acts of kindness, whether small or large, shift your mindset and interactions, bringing more positivity and connection into your daily life. Developing the habit of focusing on solutions rather than problems is also life-changing. Stoicism teaches that obstacles are opportunities in disguise, and that focusing on solutions rather than dwelling on problems is the key to overcoming adversity. By shifting your mindset to one of problem-solving, you empower yourself to face challenges head-on. In just a few days, this habit transforms your approach to difficulties, helping you see them as opportunities for growth rather than setbacks. Another habit that creates immediate change is practicing mindful consumption, whether of food, media, or information. Stoicism teaches that moderation is key to living a balanced life. By becoming more mindful of what you consume, you reduce excess and avoid the negative effects of overindulgence. In a short time, you'll notice that mindful consumption leads to better physical and mental health, as you make more conscious choices about what you allow into your body and mind. The habit of regular physical movement is another essential Stoic practice that brings quick results. Stoicism emphasizes the connection between physical health and mental clarity. Incorporating daily physical activity, whether it's walking, stretching, or more intensive exercise, helps you maintain balance and energy throughout the day. In just a week, you'll notice improvements in your mood, energy levels, and overall sense of well-being. Another life-changing habit is practicing patience, both with yourself and others. Stoicism teaches that progress takes time and that rushing through life only leads to frustration. By developing patience, you allow yourself to experience life more fully and avoid unnecessary stress. This practice helps you approach challenges and interactions with a calm and steady mindset, leading to better outcomes and more harmonious relationships. The habit of regularly reviewing your progress is also essential for personal growth. Stoicism teaches that self-awareness is key to improvement, and by taking time each day or week to assess your actions, thoughts, and behaviors, you gain valuable insights into where you need to make adjustments. This habit of self-review leads to continuous growth and improvement, helping you stay aligned with your values and goals. Adopting the habit of practicing Stoic acceptance can bring profound change in just a week. Stoicism teaches that while you cannot control everything that happens, you can always control how you respond. By practicing acceptance of what is, without resistance or complaint, you create a sense of inner peace and resilience. In just a few days, this mindset shift allows you to navigate life's challenges with grace, knowing that you are in control of your reactions and that peace is found in acceptance, not resistance. As you cultivate life-changing habits rooted in Stoic wisdom, you naturally begin to notice the shift not only in how you feel, but also in how others perceive and value you. The principles you live by start to reflect outwardly, enhancing your reputation and deepening your relationships. Stoicism teaches that the true measure of value comes not from what you own or achieve externally, but from the character you develop and the principles you stand by. Practices that increase your value, therefore, are not about seeking approval or validation, but about living a life of integrity, wisdom, and inner strength. These qualities naturally attract respect and admiration from others without you needing to chase them. The practice of active listening is another way to be more valued by those around you. Stoicism teaches the importance of thoughtful communication, and listening is a key part of that. When you genuinely listen to others without interrupting or imposing your opinions, you create a space of respect and understanding. People value those who make them feel heard, and in turn, they are more likely to respect and appreciate your contributions when you do speak. Practicing empathy also enhances your value in relationships. Stoicism acknowledges the interconnectedness of all people, and empathy allows you to connect deeply with others' experiences. By showing compassion and understanding toward the struggles and perspectives of others, you foster trust and mutual respect. Empathy is not about agreeing with everyone, but about recognizing their humanity and responding with kindness and consideration. This makes you a more valued and appreciated presence in both personal and professional settings. Another Stoic practice that increases your value is the cultivation of wisdom. Wisdom is not just about knowledge, but about the ability to apply that knowledge in practical, meaningful ways. When others see that you consistently make thoughtful, reasoned decisions, they come to value your judgment and insight. Stoicism teaches that wisdom comes from experience, reflection, and a commitment to learning. By embracing this lifelong pursuit of wisdom, you become someone others look to for guidance and perspective. Being reliable is another essential practice for being more valued. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of fulfilling your commitments and being someone others can depend on. When you consistently show up, follow through on promises, and deliver on your responsibilities, people recognize your dependability. Reliability builds trust, and trust is the foundation of any strong relationship. Others come to value you not just for what you say, but for what you do. Practicing patience also contributes to your value in the eyes of others. Stoicism teaches that patience is key to enduring life's challenges and dealing with others' imperfections. When you demonstrate patience in difficult situations, whether it's with others or in facing your own struggles, people recognize your calmness and resilience. This quality makes you someone they can rely on during tough times, increasing their respect and appreciation for your steady presence. Another way to be more valued is by maintaining emotional control. Stoicism emphasizes mastery over one's emotions, teaching that true strength comes from responding to situations with calm and reason rather than reacting impulsively. When you manage your emotions effectively, especially in high-pressure situations, others see you as composed and capable. Emotional control reflects inner strength, and it inspires confidence in those around you, making you more valued in both professional and personal spheres. Practicing self-awareness is another Stoic principle that increases your value. Self-awareness involves regularly reflecting on your actions, thoughts, and motivations, ensuring that you are living in alignment with your values. This practice allows you to recognize your strengths and weaknesses and to make continuous improvements. People value those who are self-aware because they are more likely to act with intention and mindfulness, rather than being driven by ego or impulse. Another way to increase your value is by offering thoughtful, constructive feedback when necessary. Stoicism teaches that true friendship and respect involve honesty, even when it's uncomfortable. However, this honesty must be delivered with kindness and the intention to help others grow. When you offer feedback in a way that is helpful rather than critical, people appreciate your honesty and see you as someone who genuinely cares about their development. This increases your value in their eyes because it shows that you are invested in their growth. The practice of setting clear boundaries also enhances your value. Stoicism teaches the importance of protecting your inner peace and not allowing others to violate your personal space or principles. By setting boundaries, you show others that you respect yourself and expect the same from them. People come to value those who maintain healthy boundaries because it demonstrates self-respect and clarity of purpose. Boundaries create a framework of mutual respect, which deepens trust and appreciation. Another Stoic practice that makes you more valued is staying calm in the face of adversity. Life is full of challenges, and how you respond to them shapes how others view you. Stoicism teaches that external events are beyond your control, but your reactions are always within your power. By remaining calm and composed during difficult times, you show resilience and emotional strength. Others value this quality because it provides stability and reassurance in uncertain situations. Being adaptable is another key practice that increases your value. Stoicism teaches that life is constantly changing, and rigid attachment to a single way of thinking or doing things can lead to frustration. When you are adaptable, you demonstrate a willingness to adjust and grow in response to new circumstances. This flexibility makes you more valuable to others because it shows that you are open to learning and capable of handling the unexpected with grace. Another practice that enhances your value is generosity, not just with material resources, but with your time, attention, and support. Stoicism teaches that true generosity comes from a place of abundance and selflessness. When you offer help or support without expecting anything in return, people appreciate your kindness and see you as someone who contributes positively to their lives. Generosity fosters goodwill and strengthens relationships, making you more valued in the eyes of others. Practicing forgiveness is also a way to increase your value. Stoicism teaches that holding on to grudges or resentment only harms your peace of mind. By forgiving others for their mistakes or shortcomings, you demonstrate emotional maturity and wisdom. Forgiveness does not mean condoning harmful behavior, but it allows you to move forward without carrying the weight of bitterness. Others value this quality because it shows that you are capable of letting go and focusing on what truly matters. Another way to be more valued is by being a source of encouragement and positivity. Stoicism teaches the importance of focusing on what you can control and approaching life with a sense of optimism. When you encourage others and help them see the potential in difficult situations, you become a source of strength and inspiration. People value those who uplift them, and your positivity can make a lasting impact on their lives. Demonstrating consistency is another Stoic practice that enhances your value. Consistency means showing up in the same way, day after day, regardless of circumstances. It reflects reliability, integrity, and commitment. People value those who are consistent because it builds trust and creates a sense of stability. When others know they can count on you to act with the same principles and dedication, they respect and appreciate your steadfastness. Practicing resilience also makes you more valued. Stoicism teaches that setbacks and failures are inevitable, but how you recover from them defines your strength. Resilience involves getting back up after a fall and continuing to move forward despite obstacles. When others see your ability to persevere, even in the face of adversity, They admire your determination and value your strength of character. Being present and mindful in your interactions with others also increases your value. Stoicism teaches that each moment is an opportunity to engage fully and meaningfully. When you are fully present in your conversations and interactions, people feel valued and respected. This mindfulness creates deeper connections and fosters a sense of trust, making you more appreciated in both personal and professional relationships. The practice of cultivating gratitude is another way to increase your value. Stoicism teaches that gratitude is the key to contentment and joy. When you regularly express appreciation for the people and experiences in your life, others notice your positive outlook and feel more valued in return. Gratitude strengthens relationships by creating a sense of mutual appreciation, and it enhances your reputation as someone who recognizes the good in life. The practice of leading by example is one of the most powerful ways to be more valued. Stoicism teaches that actions speak louder than words. When you live according to your principles and demonstrate the qualities you wish to see in others, such as integrity, kindness, and resilience, you naturally inspire those around you. People value those who lead by example because it shows that you are committed to walking the path of virtue, not just talking about it. Your actions become a source of guidance and inspiration, making you a person others admire and respect deeply. As you refine your ability to cultivate value and demonstrate integrity in your actions, it becomes crucial to sharpen your awareness of the people around you. Not everyone shares the same dedication to virtue, and the presence of envy or falsehood in others can undermine your progress and disturb your peace. Stoicism teaches not only how to guard your own principles, but also how to identify the negative traits in others that may lead to harm or deception. Recognizing envy and dishonesty in those around you allows you to navigate relationships with clarity, ensuring that you align yourself with those who reflect honesty and integrity, while keeping distance from those who may detract from your path. One of the clearest indicators of envy in others is when they downplay your achievements. Instead of celebrating your successes, an envious person may try to minimize them or suggest that you didn't really deserve the outcome. Stoicism teaches the importance of humility in both success and failure, but recognizing when others attempt to belittle your achievements out of jealousy is key to understanding their true motivations. This behavior is often subtle, wrapped in seemingly innocent comments or suggestions, but it reveals an underlying bitterness that can disrupt harmony. Another sign of envy is when someone constantly compares themselves to you, particularly in areas where they feel they fall short. Envy often manifests as a deep-seated insecurity, and people who are envious tend to measure their worth against the accomplishments of others. Instead of focusing on their own growth, they become fixated on your progress. Stoicism emphasizes focusing on one's own journey and not being swayed by external comparisons. But when you notice others comparing themselves to you, it's often a reflection of their internal envy and dissatisfaction. Falsehood, on the other hand, can often be identified through inconsistency in behavior and words. Stoicism values truth and consistency, and when someone frequently contradicts themselves or shifts their story depending on the situation, it's a sign of dishonesty. A person who cannot maintain a coherent narrative is likely hiding something or attempting to manipulate the truth for their own benefit. This inconsistency may seem harmless at first, but over time it erodes trust and reveals a deeper pattern of deception. Another way to recognize falsehood is by paying attention to how someone handles responsibility. People who consistently shift blame onto others, refusing to take ownership of their mistakes, are often hiding behind a facade of dishonesty. Stoicism teaches the importance of taking responsibility for one's actions, but those who lie to protect their image or avoid accountability reveal a lack of integrity. This behavior is not only dishonest, but also corrosive to relationships, as it undermines trust and fosters a culture of deceit. Envy can also be recognized in those who seem to derive satisfaction from your failures or struggles. Instead of offering support or encouragement during difficult times, envious individuals may quietly celebrate your setbacks. This subtle schadenfreude is a hallmark of envy, as those who feel threatened by your success are often relieved when you face challenges. Stoicism teaches resilience in the face of adversity, but being aware of those who take pleasure in your hardships allows you to protect yourself from their negative influence. Falsehood can be seen in how people manipulate information to suit their narrative. When someone distorts the truth or omits key details to make themselves look better or to shift perception in their favor, it's a sign of dishonesty. Stoicism emphasizes clarity and transparency in communication, and those who twist the facts to serve their own agenda cannot be trusted. This behavior is often subtle, but once you start noticing discrepancies in how someone presents information, it becomes clear that they are not being entirely truthful. Another common trait of envious individuals is their reluctance to offer genuine praise or recognition. When someone is envious, they find it difficult to acknowledge the accomplishments of others, especially when those achievements highlight their own perceived inadequacies. Instead of offering sincere congratulations, they may provide lukewarm or half-hearted praise, if any at all. Stoicism encourages the practice of humility in both giving and receiving praise, but recognizing when others are withholding genuine acknowledgement reveals their envious mindset. People who engage in falsehood often exaggerate their own accomplishments or inflate their sense of importance. This is a form of deceit that Stoicism warns against, as it not only misleads others, but also creates a distorted sense of self. When someone frequently embellishes their achievements or fabricates stories to boost their image, it's a clear sign of dishonesty. This need for validation through lies reveals deep insecurity and an unwillingness to confront the truth about themselves. Envy can also be identified in those who subtly sabotage your efforts. Whether through passive-aggressive comments, undermining your confidence, or offering bad advice disguised as helpfulness, envious individuals often seek to hinder your progress. Stoicism teaches the importance of discernment in recognizing harmful influences, and being aware of those who secretly work against your success allows you to protect yourself from their negative energy. Falsehood is often revealed in how people react when they are caught in a lie. Those who are dishonest will often double down, create more elaborate stories, or shift the blame onto others rather than admit their deceit. Stoicism teaches the value of honesty and taking responsibility, but when someone cannot admit their falsehood, it becomes clear that their dishonesty is habitual. This refusal to own up to their lies is a sign of deeper issues with integrity. Another indicator of envy is when someone consistently tries to outdo or compete with you, even in situations where competition is unnecessary. Envious individuals often feel the need to prove that they are better or more capable, even if it means overshadowing your achievements. Stoicism teaches that true self-worth comes from within, not from external validation, but recognizing this behavior in others helps you maintain your focus on your own path without getting caught up in their competitive energy. People who engage in falsehood often project their own dishonesty onto others. They may accuse others of lying or being untrustworthy, even when there is no evidence to support these claims. This projection is a way to deflect attention from their own deceit and create confusion. Stoicism teaches that clarity and truth are essential for inner peace, and recognizing when others project their dishonesty onto you allows you to see through their manipulation. Envy can also be recognized in those who are overly critical of your success or progress. Instead of offering constructive feedback, envious individuals may focus on finding faults or pointing out perceived flaws in your achievements. This constant criticism is a way for them to diminish your accomplishments and make themselves feel superior. Stoicism encourages you to take feedback with grace, but being able to discern between helpful advice and envy-driven criticism helps you maintain your confidence. Falsehood can often be identified in those who engage in flattery that feels excessive or insincere. While Stoicism values modesty and sincerity, people who rely on flattery often use it as a tool to manipulate others. Excessive praise can be a way to gain favor or influence, but it lacks genuine respect or admiration. Recognizing when flattery is being used as a manipulative tactic allows you to see through the falsehood and maintain your sense of self-worth without being swayed by empty compliments. Another sign of envy is when someone tries to take credit for your work or ideas. Envious individuals often struggle with their own sense of accomplishment, so they may attempt to diminish your success by claiming it as their own. Stoicism teaches the importance of giving credit where it's due, but when others try to steal your recognition, it reveals their deep-seated envy and insecurity. Falsehood is also evident in people who consistently avoid difficult conversations or evade accountability. When someone is dishonest, they often go to great lengths to avoid being confronted about their actions. They may deflect, change the subject, or disappear when things get challenging. Stoicism values courage and honesty in facing the truth, and recognizing when someone avoids accountability helps you see their lack of integrity. Envy can be seen in those who spread rumors or gossip about you behind your back. Instead of addressing their feelings directly, envious individuals often try to undermine you by planting seeds of doubt or creating false narratives about your character. Stoicism teaches the importance of rising above gossip and staying true to your principles, but being aware of those who engage in this behavior allows you to distance yourself from their toxicity. Falsehood is also revealed in how people handle success. Those who are dishonest may lie about their achievements or exaggerate their victories to gain admiration. Stoicism encourages humility in success. But when someone's stories don't align with the facts or seem too good to be true, it's often a sign of deceit. Recognizing this behavior allows you to maintain a realistic perspective and avoid being misled by false appearances. Envy can also manifest in those who are quick to dismiss or invalidate your feelings or experiences. Envious individuals often feel threatened by your emotional depth or personal growth, so they may try to undermine it by suggesting that your feelings are exaggerated or irrelevant. Stoicism teaches the value of emotional resilience, but recognizing when others are trying to diminish your experiences helps you maintain your emotional well-being. Falsehood can finally be seen in people who frequently change their stance or opinions depending on who they are with. This lack of consistency reveals a deeper dishonesty, as they are more concerned with pleasing others than staying true to their values. Stoicism teaches the importance of living with integrity, and recognizing this behavior in others allows you to protect yourself from their manipulative tendencies. By staying grounded in your principles, you can navigate relationships with clarity, avoiding the pitfalls of envy and falsehood. As you've journeyed through these powerful Stoic truths, you've seen how each principle has the potential to shift your mindset, strengthen your resilience, and guide you toward a life of deeper meaning. From embracing discomfort to mastering the art of selective neglect, every Stoic practice builds upon the last, creating a framework for living with purpose, clarity, and inner peace. By learning to detach from external validation, facing rejection with wisdom, and valuing the present moment, you take control of your own life, no longer ruled by fear, envy, or the chaos of others' expectations. This isn't just a philosophy, it's a roadmap to freedom, a freedom from the noise that clouds your thoughts, the pressures that pull you away from your true self, and the emotions that often overwhelm your clarity. Every day presents an opportunity to apply these lessons, to reflect, to act with intention, and to move closer to the person you are meant to be. Now, it's your turn. What Stoic truth resonated most with you? Leave a comment below and share how you'll use Stoicism to change your life. Let's create a community of growth and wisdom together. And if you're hungry for more content like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon to stay updated and continue your journey toward becoming the strongest, wisest version of yourself. Your growth is just beginning. Stay curious, stay strong, and keep moving forward.